Cristiano Ronaldo, Suey.
Ladies and gentlebeans, welcome back. We've upgraded our production so much. We actually have a moving and responsing Pablo image today. He's back from the beaches abroad and straight in at the deep end, Pabs. Best of 9, grand final time. Here we go, baby.
2 weeks away and a best of 9 to welcome you back, and I was like, let's get it. I mean, we're going to potentially be here for some time, so you're going to have to get the metaphor lists at the ready, because this could be a long one. It could be an exciting one, though. But I mean, mate, what a way to come back into a Div 2 final. This sounds like it's been a belter of a run. You were just telling me then about the double bracket to get to this point, and this is a big one. And I'm really excited. We've cast over these boys as well a few times, so I'm proper excited. I've been listening to COD all week. I've been listening to people talk about COD. I've been listening to people talk about champs. I've been listening to South African COD, APAC COD, EU COD. So it's nice to finally be involved once more, brother. Thank you.
Yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know how this kind of a bracketing system is working, we effectively had groups A, B, C, and D. We had groups A and B on one side of the bracket, groups C and D on the other. They went through, and then they got through to a grand final on each of their respective halves. Ricochet Ultra won their side of the bracket. I do actually have the visual for Ricochet's side of it. So we can see that they beat Incentive Rebellion. They then went through to the final to play Iconic Esports, and they then beat them again. So that is now putting them up on their side of the bracket. And then effectively Milkers have done pretty much exactly the same, but on their side of the bracket. So now we have got a grand final here in Division 2 and playing for £210 currently. So both respective teams have won £140 already from coming through their brackets, but now they're playing for an additional 210 to see it off the top. And our teams for this evening, we know the Ricochet Ultra lot pretty well. Pabs in Hayden, 808, Rico, and Stoker. And then on the side of Milkers, we've got Riz, Icy, Mr. Lewis Matthews, who we cast over for ES Cynical, who I will believe probably won't be getting as milked religiously as he did before. And then he's also got Duz, I believe it's pronounced on one side. So we know a lot about the Ricochet Ultra lot, to be fair to them. They were probably my favourite going into the whole thing. I think I mentioned on stream a couple of times, actually. But this Milkers side, they've managed to get all the way through to the end, and there's not going to be a reason as to why they didn't do that. They're obviously a very good team, so hopefully we get a very good matchup here with these two.
I mean, we've cast over Lewis before, we've cast over Icy before. They've got this far, and that's kind of like a massive bracket, realistically speaking, with some talent in there. And I can only assume that Milkers had to face the same kind of talent. So to get to this point, they're gonna probably put up a fight, and I can't imagine this is going to be any kind of zeros in this scoreline at the end of it. Ricochet Ultra, though, you are right. We have cast over these before, and I think I've probably milked Hayden a few times in pubs and rank play in the past. So yeah, it's a quality side. And we know that they're very organized, and you know, Kieran, the head of Ricochet, likes his teams to be quality. He doesn't like to have teams that aren't particularly useful to him in any way, and he's got a quality side there. So yeah, Milkers though are definitely not here to make up the numbers, and I'm quite excited to see what Lewis can do with the kind of, I mean, I don't want to be unfair to 39 and 3s and that, but now that the restraints are probably slightly off in terms of him probably having a few more players around him that can play at his level, this should be very interesting.
Yeah, and just a quick heads up as well, I believe some of the guys are requesting money cams and all that other stuff. Obviously they're playing for money, so hopefully we can get into our maps very, very shortly. But we do have our first set of 5 maps. Apologies, my maps graphic isn't long enough. I need a bigger screen. We've got a Bocage Hardpoint, Tuscan Search, Gav Control, Berlin Hardpoint, and then a Desert Siege, Search and Destroy. And then our remaining 4 maps are going to be a Tuscan Control, a Bocage Search, a Tuscan Hardpoint, and then a Berlin Search. So, I mean, we've pretty much got a little bit of everything, and Merry wants a Major and a Pablo C. So do you want me to warm you up, mate, and we'll both do it because he's asked for both.
Yeah,
so,
give me a count in. Give us a count in.
All right,
we'll do it
3, 2, 1. There you go, Merry.
Voice is gone, man. Regarding maps, bro, I have broke this down into 3 right there. We've got Hardpoint S&D Control repeated twice. You've got a Bocage, Tuscan, Gav. So, you know, you're talking about the kind of pacier maps, especially for Hardpoint and S&D. Gav Control is a bit of a weird one. Then the next 3 maps, Berlin Siege and Tuscan. You're then looking at this larger group of maps, these big geographies. So it's a really odd first 6 maps, and especially if we do get as far as that, and then we end on probably what would be considered maybe a classic run of maps. It's S&D, HP, S&D. So Bocage, Tuscan, and Berlin. So if we get to those final maps, that is going to be, you know, not just a true test of COD ability, but concentration, determination. You know, I can't imagine we won't have a break between Tuscan and Bocage, because these guys are going to need to regain regardless of the scoreline. This is going to be a heavy old evening of Call of Duty.
Yeah, so we are just waiting for the guys to press the big green button to get us going into a bocage. But yeah, I think it will be an interesting one. I say we don't know a huge amount of what Milkers can bring to it, but obviously they're here in the grand final. They're here for a reason, so they should be able to put up their fair share of bullets in return. But one player that I've highlighted kind of consistently with Ricochet Ultra has been 808. He's obviously, the first time I cast him, he was very, very good in one of the hard points. I think he dropped close to 50 in a Tuscan. Obviously, everyone then threw up loads of question marks and, oh, he's cheating, he's cheating, he's cheating. And then he had a bad map and everyone's like, see, now he's not so good. He hasn't got his cheats. And then obviously he's back again. And the last series that I cast, he was very good. Oh, and Kez with the 9 months. The man with the most bizarre GIF usage on the timeline I have ever seen. Thank you very much, Kez. I hope you're well, mate. I hope you're well. But yeah, this Ricochet Ultra team, Pablo, across the board. Hayden is as well another player. Very consistent for Ricochet Ultra. We rarely see kind of a game where Hayden is struggling. It's kind of like he's the underlying foundation for this roster, for which the other players can kind of go and do their own thing. And when he's playing well, you would argue that he's, again, one of those players that could creep just below or just above into that kind of that top 16 Super League kind of area, because we're having a little bit of a system reshuffle, so to speak, in Europe with how the ACCL is working. I don't know if you know too much about it. So we've got 2 top leagues now, I do believe, and then we've got divisions below. So I'm not quite sure where some of these teams are going to land, because you could justify a lot of these teams now in ACCL kind of that are hovering around Division 2. Division 1, sorry, could easily work their way just about into the Super League, depending on how busy it becomes.
I mean, I think the weird thing is that obviously as we approach the end of this season, we're approaching that defining point, especially if Prezzy's offering for the change to challenges is accepted in any way, or there is any kind, maybe, you know, even if they don't accept his offering, they realize that there needs to be a change. Going into Modern Warfare 2, the landscape of Call of Duty for EU could change dramatically, especially if it's as appalling as Vanguard was. We could potentially see another sea of players moving over to different games like Valorant and Halo, and we could see these players that are right now struggling to break into that top 16 just start to fill those spots. And you know, you can get arguments from like the older players who've been, you know, former pros and former players going, oh, the standards aren't the same. Well, it doesn't matter. If you're not there, someone's going to fill your spot and the standards will creep up. So yeah, I mean, I'm proper excited for the next 4 months. Could be the most exciting that we've seen in a while, purely because Vanguard has been insane.
Yeah, so we are finally loading into our first map, and it's going to be the absolute carnage cluster F-bomb that I like to refer to it as in Bocage Hardpoint. So a good little warm-up map for these guys, and a messy one, Pablo, we're used to seeing on this one. So,
way to start a best of 9, mate.
Yeah, this is. They're not easing us in, are they? They're making sure that we get yeeted straight in at the deep end with this one. But yeah, kind of, I suppose as well, on a Bocage, you usually tend to see the team that has that more kind of flexible or comfortable flex player, should I say, that running that third S&G is normally the team that tends to come out on top of this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the other problem, I suppose, and it's not a problem, it's a problem for the players and it's not a problem for us, essentially. Say hello to the missus. Hello, missus. It's not a problem for us. It's great for us, is that this can throw the cat among the pigeons very early on. You know, you don't necessarily need to have super crack strategies. You know, it's a pretty easy one to rotate. You know, if you're not getting the underlying fundamentals in Bocage, you're probably going to get destroyed. Milkers and Ricochet are here for a reason, you know, and this could go to the wire. We've seen, you know, fundamentally different sides with opposing strategies and completely different styles of play. Take this to the wire, so anything can get thrown up on a Bocage hardpoint, mate. It's a friend to the caster, you know we love it.
I know, especially when it gets to right towards the end and you get kind of the bottom grannies hill. We have just had a quick lobby restart, guys, for any of you wondering, so we should be getting underway very, very shortly. But yeah, that hill in grannies, when it usually tends to become kind of 250 to 240 something, I have to take the world's biggest inhale of oxygen known to man. For
get
that
the
one,
octaver out as you like,
because it just becomes absolutely ridiculous on that one. But yeah, gun skill obviously and rotation. I suppose rotation is kind of a little less important, I think, like you mentioned, towards the later side of the series, when we start to see kind of the Berlins and the more kind of structured maps. That's when we're likely to kind of see the team that is rotating more efficiently tends to reap the benefits, whereas on a Bocage it's just kind of, right, just go out and kill everything that moves, really, boys.
Well, I mean, one-on-ones are really important on the bigger maps, whereas you can get away with kind of maybe, you know, rotating and losing that first kill, and you then having to break with your remaining 3. And on Bocage, you can do that quite simply. Obviously, when you get to the larger maps like Berlin, I suppose at Gavutu Hardpoint as well, you know, it really does come down to your players being able to have the responsibility to take those one-on-ones, especially when it comes to owning that next rotation. So Bocage is a lot of fun. It's mayhem. It's genuinely quite crazy. We do tend to see a lot of close score lines, and it's super exciting. And what a way to start off a best of 9 blast straight back into a bit of Call of Duty. We are going to jump on board with Lewis, the player that we did cast over for Cynical. He is now in Milkers. So Major, I mean, this is the big thing we wanted to see at a team of 4 where we've only cast over maybe 2 of the players previously.
Yeah, so deep breath, boys and girls. We are in towards our best of 9. That graphic at the top of the screen looks like we got so many maps to go through this evening. And obviously, one thing that we can talk about is obviously how difficult it is for us. But these guys have got to keep the consistency going over potentially 9 maps for this whole shebang. So we'll see how these two get on. Ricochet Ultra are going to start off the slightly better of the 2 on the P1 that we're used to seeing a lot of teams kind of battle back and forth for. I see though with a couple of kills, Riz and Duz are going to do exactly the same. And look at those red arrows, Pablo, already pushing through for P2 as we come to expect.
Mate, that was a beautiful break, really well timed. All the shots go down. Icy with a beautiful 2-piece to push the boys not only off the kill, but give themselves Millies from Milkers the spawn for P2. So yeah, very, very, you know, perfect style break on P1, and it's going to cut that lead short from 17-0. There's now 17-5. It is going to be a little bit of a battle going down, as you can see those purple arrows start to spawn out very close towards the back of Tin, but it's a beautiful position there from Icy. And Major, Icy has been a very intelligent player so far. He's got himself 6-2 and he's already on a 4 streak.
Yeah, and you can see that number 3 Stoker is going to be heading out the back to potentially try and at least take him down. We'll take down Dubs with some nice shots, and he has got some help alongside him. Lewis, though, is going to cut one down in transition, so Hayden's going to look to try and do the same, but the patience of Icy is going to mean that he's still alive in the back, and he will grab another kill to put himself out on a 5 streak. He's got reinforcements with him, so an opportunity already for an early dive bomb, but he's going to get caught out there in transition with the pistol out, so that means that Ricochet do stop them from getting any potential streaks. It's getting messy on the hill, though, as Riz is able to grab a pick onto Stoker. Rico will fall as well for the side of Ricochet as a battle into towards middle map will now ensue. Duz has managed to get out towards that Granny's side. He is located up the top. I assume the call out has come through. Stoker's going to spot him. Stoker grabs the kill. And now Hayden going to transition up towards the top of it. But Milkers, really strong hold on P2 and going to look to try and potentially punch their way into P3 as well.
Yeah, we talk about how important that hill to kill time efficiency can be, and right now Milkers slaying out strong. Icy on 8, we've got Duz on a 7, and we got Lewis and it's combining for a 10, and that's just allowed them to get, you know, a good 15 or 16 second lead from a point where they were down, and this is exactly what you need on a Bocage. If you're gonna get the kills, turn it into time. Lewis with a beautiful 2-piece as he puts 808 and Stoker to the sword, and again, Major, you've got to be looking to that Ricochet Ultra side. Need to start picking up the kills, because right now Rico is 4-11, having an absolute shocker with only 6 seconds under his belt. It's plays like that that are not going to see you winning a Bocage, and right now they've doubled the lead and are well on their way to putting the boys in Ricochet Ultra to the blender in this P1, in this first rotation even.
Rico just demonstrating what you can do there on a Bocage and just kind of pushing towards, even if it's just a few seconds of scrap time. We've seen so many of these Bocage hard points that have come right down to the wire, and it looks as though they're going to fight for every single second of scrap time. But Rico, as you mentioned, really struggling. 808, and Hayden currently just managing to break even for the time being. Stoker's going to get taken down over towards that barn side, and now they're going to look to try and push in towards the hill. Lewis with one, Riz with one. Lewis grabs the second, and all of a sudden Rico's the last man up, and that is a clean break there coming through from Milkers. And at the moment, Pablo, it looks as though Milkers have kind of got that opportunity to just punch into hills whenever they want, and Ricochet, they're not really doing a huge amount of stopping them at the moment. Icy's now locked in the back, and Ricochet struggling to do pretty much what Milkers have managed to do every single hill so far.
Icy is loving the distance in this Bocage. He just gets himself a position, posts himself up, and he drops 1, 2, 3 pieces without a problem. One of the things we did see earlier on, Hayden with some very windy shots, and this has been a problem for the boys from Ricochet Ultra. They're just not getting the kills in transition, so when they do manage to get onto the kill, or even close to getting to try and break the kill, the boys from Milkers are just slaying them out with such ease right now. Icy and Lewis combining for a 29 kills, and that is, you know, almost more than what the boys from Ricochet Ultra have got as a whole. I think they're only just over 30 kills, so right now it's a huge lead for Milkers, and they've flopped and and ready to go for this P5. And right now, Major, those purple arrows have not been set up for the kill for the large proportion of this first rotation. As we hit at the end, to the end of it, they really do need to change things up in this second rotation. Get faster, get quicker, and get themselves a little bit more accurate.
Oh, and Lewis there managing to grab another pick with the MP40. There's a second onto 808, looking for the third onto Stoker. He's not going to get it as Stoker is going to try and steady the ship a little bit, but he's going to have a one-on-one against the man who is just cutting through them repeatedly at the moment. Icy, there's another pick for him to almost close him out to 20 now. And although it's only going to be a 50-point lead on a Bocage, that could be exacerbated to pretty much almost 100 points at the moment, because we see so many teams go back and forth with close score lines. And this lead now for Milkers is looking really, really pristine. Riz is going to work his way over towards the top side of Barn. And oh, we get a raid from Mr. Dane. Thank you very much, Dane. Worthy of a few of those. And yeah, if you guys are just hopping on board with Dane here, we've got ourselves a best of 9 in the grand final of Division 2 ACCL. And at the moment, Milker's really putting the boys of Ricochet through their paces again, though. Back over towards P1, Pablo, and a 70-point deficit is going to be really, really difficult for these boys, as Riz is going on an absolute rogue tear. And there's 3 for Riz, as they are just taking it in turns. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Good night, Vienna.
Like, I was about to say just how satisfying Icy's hit reg was, and then Riz pops up and it's just like da-da-da, da-da-da. Every single time it's this beautiful 3-bullet kill. So nice work from Milkers, who are definitely feeling the connection in this. And at 140 to 68, Major, that is an absolute trouncing in a Bocage. We were talking about this potentially being a close map. On the boys from Ricochet, I mean, they need to pick the pads up, because right now they have been destroyed, and it is an absolutely monumental league. We are talking 60 seconds, so a full hill time right there that they're going to need to collect. But Major, they're already set up. Milkers are ready for P2. They've got themselves coverage right the way across mid-map. Number 7 there is going to cause them no end of problems. But he's going to be walking around the mid. It is going to take 2 players from Ricochet to try and push through mid, but he's got the handgun out. Icy can't be stopped right now. Major 149 to 81. I mean, Ricochet really do need to they've got to go through the paces. They've got to potentially, I would just change guns, do anything to try and get that hit reg up and get some kills on the board.
Yeah, they just need to get some form of momentum going here. Ricochet, 80 points is going to be the difference. That's a lot better from them, though. But Riz is going to, again, try and maybe cut through a few of them. He will get taken down, so they are going to have a good position to soak up what could be a very important 25 seconds here now for these lads. Hayden is already starting to think for the new hill. There's one for Hayden. He's going to get taken down, shot in the back, and you can see that Duz is going for the scrap time as well. Isn't going to win that gunfight against Stoker, and it just feels as though the one-on-one gunfights that Ricochet haven't been able to win so far. They have managed to win just a few of them to grant themselves a bit more time. But again, Pablo, the team ready to go is going to be Milkers. And more importantly, the man they're going to have to try and work their way through is the man that is currently ripping them apart one at a time. 24 and 12 from IC. And again, initial hill is theirs. But the boys do break in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was some nice place from Riz. He sits. I think he's been enjoying that kind of like corner just towards stairs for P5, and he's been taking out a few players across a number of hills. We saw them when they set up for P2. He was there P1, and then we're obviously seeing this now over towards P3, where he manages to get into these crazy positions, and that's why he's on 27 and 17 right now, the kill leader in the game, and he's dropped himself a healthy 33 seconds. So one notable thing about Milkers is they are milking each other for time. They are doing the responsible thing, getting time in the hill. And right now it has been a bloodbath in this P3, and it is still with the up in Ricochet Ultra to try and do work. But Major, they have brought this back to around about 40 seconds. So despite not necessarily getting as many kills as they should do, they're getting some quality time. Yeah. And this is once again the game is back on.
Yeah, with the help of arguably one of the messiest hills that we're used to seeing, they get a decent chunk of time there, Ricochet. So that deficit now down to only 30. What I believe was 80 plus, so you take that if you are those boys. But now Icy out the back again. He's going to win one gunfight, but this time they're going to be a bit more efficient in trading him out. There's one kill for Lewis. Can he get the second onto 808 though? A man who we've seen put up some really big numbers. He's now currently working himself towards some streaks. He's now managed to get himself 4 in a row without a response hit from Milkers. They've got to be careful not to potentially grant him streaks here. He is going to have a one-on-one up against a couple of players. Rico, though, coming around to mop up the pieces. 808 will fall, and Ricochet still got control of the hill. They don't have control of the back, though. Lewis is going to try and push his way in through that side that they now control. But they've got to be careful, because at the moment Ricochet is slowly edging their way in. And like you said, Pablo, if you're getting a decent chunk of time when you're not necessarily getting the kills, you do fear for Milkers if Ricochet starts to pull their finger out a little bit here, because it looks as though that's what they're doing little by little.
Yeah, I mean, they've done so well to kind of reap the time without necessarily sowing any of the kills. And right now, they've brought this back to around in about 20 seconds. But the key is they do start, like, they look like they're starting to get their shots on point. So this is a worrying time right now for Milkers. If they want to see this blockage out, they're going to have to consolidate. And largely on the back of the likes of Icy and the likes of Riz, who've put up huge numbers, but it's going to count for nothing if Ricochet Ultra are allowed to creep back into this game. And it's been great plays by them so far. And Major, one player you pointed out early in, prior to the game starting was 808, who was dreadfully negative, is now 25 and 27.
Yeah, they're pretty much back on even terms now. Although it is only 10 seconds, but now a lot of red kills in the kill feed. One of which, though, is actually going to be a team kill coming through from Riz. He is going to manage to pick up Hayden as well. So going to be down to Ricochet to once again push their way in towards the hill. Is Rico going to check the right corner, though? He's going to snap straight onto one player. Riz and Icy, though, going to trade out. Does up on the high ground as Riz is going to look to try and just put some more team shots into that last remaining player. But 808 is the last man standing on the hill for potentially an important 10 seconds. Lewis is going to make light work of him, though, and some shots from Rico aren't going to quite connect to get the kill. We go back towards the infamous P1 hill. And already a lot of players and a lot of bodies in and around middle map. It is going to be Milkers on the initial time as they look to try and push through once again. You can see, though, that number 7 does, but it's going to get caught out. Riz, though, wins one gunfight. Is he going to win any more? No, the trades again are looking a lot cleaner from Ricochet Ultra, down to 8 seconds. And this P1 time at the moment has been a really, really strong start from them. But as soon as I say that, Icy just rips off 2 skeletons' heads in quick succession and takes them off the point.
Honestly, Major, he's been absolutely unreal on the 2 pieces, and no wonder he's approaching 40 on 36 and 22. I think Riz is potentially going to beat him to that most coveted scoreline right there. Still 39 and 26, but right now, Milkers do look like they've got themselves a little bit of control. They've done so well on that P1 from the very beginning, from the point where they pushed Ultra right the way back, but it is going to be those purple arrows, and they can see already Ricochet Ultra kind of chalking off that P1 and trying to get set up for P2, and a big 1v1 about to go down. Hayden nearly chooses the wrong time. He does choose the wrong time to reload, and Lewis does great work, and this is going to come down to Rico to control this back tin, and we know how much Icy likes to be in this position, so it is going to be on Ricochet Ultra right now, and Major, you fear they definitely need quite a chunk of time if they're going to take this blockage right now, and this P2 is going to be vital for them.
Yeah, they're locking down all the right lanes, though, at the moment. Oh, but one man is going to slip through the net potentially. No, never mind. I thought Lewis might have got some god timing there because his Stoker is all the way out in the back, but his timing is going to mean that Does takes him down. Meanwhile, over towards the hill, though, Hayden's able to grab one kill, and the glide bomb is now coming through from Lewis. Is it going to collide with anyone? No, it's not, so nothing comes of it, but it will grant them that back control of the hill, and Ricochet Ultra are going to have to grant themselves a bit more time to maybe work to push it. They haven't got a huge amount of it, but nice shots there from 808 just to rip the Swede off Riz as he goes to try and push in towards the hill. There are going to be 2 more players, though, and Milkers, they can't win on this hill. They're going to get incredibly close, and you do fear for Ricochet if they don't at least get a bit of contest time, Pablo. This might be inevitable for them here.
Yeah, this is really tricky. This is going to put Milkers within 10 seconds of winning, so everything is super dire right now for Ricochet Ultra on probably what is approaching to the messiest kill in this game so far. This Grannies has been an absolute nightmare for Ricochet. Milkers have dominated largely in that first and second rotation, so right now this is all important, and you can see as the players come flying in, it's that duo of Riz and Icy who've dropped absolute numbers. Riz is on 45 kills, Major, and right now those purple arrows need to get kills. It's going to be Stoker. We do see a 3-piece, though, but Major, is the time on the clock going to be the factor with 27 seconds? It is going to be Ultra on the kill. Can they win it? Just if they manage to hold this, and the contest is going to be coming in, and you can see that pinch attempt right there for number 5, and Riz is foiled right there by Stoke. But Major, with so little time left on the clock, is that going to become the factor towards the end?
Oh, Does. He gets another 2-piece, and I think this is done. Ricochet, they did so well to hold on for as long as they could to that hill, but they weren't able to. Milkers, with that sizable lead that they held pretty much throughout the entire map, it is going to see them over the line 250 to 226. And it just felt as though Pablo Ricochet just took a little bit too long to get going in that one. They just gave themselves too much of a mountain to climb in the end.
Yeah. I just feel like it almost felt like they hadn't warmed up prior to the game, whether, I can't imagine that would be the case, but it just felt like they came in a little bit cold, and you can see the 2 players there, Riz and Icy, combining for 86 kills, and we didn't even see the non-traded figures, which were probably absolutely insane, but those two players there putting that team to the sword. Ricochet Ultra just getting absolutely bodied, and you're quite right to point out, it felt like it was the end of the second rotation before they started getting, any kind of accuracy in any kind of kills. They managed to get a little bit of time towards the end of the second rotation, largely because of the work of 808. But yeah, that is a pretty comfortable Bocage hardpoint, and right now 1-0, and that's a big win. I know it's great to be in that position, but that Bocage hardpoint was there for the win, and that's a huge win for Milkers.
Well, I'll say we've got a long old way to go in this one. Obviously, the team that comes out on top is going to have to win 5 maps off of the other team, but Milkers with a really, really strong start. And don't forget to hydrate for anyone who is currently sweating. I'll tell you what, though, my hay fever has absolutely butchered me. I don't know if Dane's in the chat, because I know he struggles with it just as much as I do. So if you do see me itching my eyes and scratching at my face repeatedly, I don't have some form of disease. I'm just allergic to the outdoors. So yeah,
the COD's that good.
Yeah.
You're just like, my God, I can't see so many doubles.
I can't take it anymore.
I've got a hoodie on. I'm sat with a hoodie on. I'm sat with a hat on. I'm absolutely boiling. There's a light in my face. It's wild. This is what we do for COD. We love it.
But yeah, map 1, very, very good from Milkers Pablo. Obviously, we flagged up. Was it Duz or Riz? I think it was Riz that got 45, wasn't it? So
yeah.
Obviously, Icy had a very, very good game, and then it kind of went under the radar a little bit there, Riz, to come through and really. Oh no, George wants a major C. 1 second, deep breath. There you go, George. Thank you very much. But yeah, Ricochet, when they got going, it was looking a lot better for them. They got a huge chunk of time in the middle portion of the game. But unfortunately, it was just one where, by that time, Milkers had already accumulated such a large chunk, and on Bocage, it's just so hard to hold some of those hills for maybe 45 seconds and trying to not allow the team at least half the time as well. We do tend to see a lot of 30-second splits on some of those hills, or just even down the middle with some contest time thrown in. So if Ricochet Ultra do manage to regain here, you do feel that potentially they are still going to be in with a viable shot this one. You're just hoping that after that warm-up map, they're going to be here to party a little bit more.
I mean, the fact that it's a best of 9 probably plays into that anyway. I mean, they've got plenty of time. You know, it's unlikely there's going to be a 5-0 blowout either way. So it is quite a lot of time still remaining for them to do things. And we know how it is. I do feel like they came into this a little colder than the boys from Milkers. They just were so slow to get off the blocks. They got time really before they even got into a position where they deserved it really. So going into this S&D on Tuscan is going to give them a nice opportunity to settle down, let Hayden do his work, become that fundamental linchpin in the team, and just get some kills and get themselves just back in the position where they can get a map on the board, and then we've got ourselves a contest. I feel like if they lose this, going into that third map, which is Gavutu, could be very difficult for them. I just feel like the pace that the guys from Milkers played at, the fact that we've seen Lewis play before and know how good he can be, could potentially put them in a quite a tricky position if they don't do well in this Tuscan. But we've got a long way to go, and a lot of it is conjecture because there are a handful of players that we haven't cast over, so we're still, you know, we don't know how they approach S&D, we don't know how they approach control, so plenty still to come and plenty under the radar as well. And you know, we're kind of in the positions of our viewers to an extent, so yeah, this is still going to be pretty exciting. And right now the foot is the shoe is definitely on the milky foot.
Yeah, so and Purge has redeemed a crap ton of sues. I'm not playing all of them, Purge. I'll play 3 of them. He's redeemed about 25 of them. I failed to even scroll through. I'm sure the other mods will sort that out for a refund later. And there's a major sue thrown in there as well. But yeah, we are just loading up ready for our next map on Tuscan Search, I do believe it is. So for anyone who did miss map number 1, it was a very, very one-sided one to begin with, and then it got incredibly close towards the end, but it is going to be Milkers that come out on top of it, 250 to 226, and we are now loading into our map number 2, which is something a little bit more back and forth, Pablo, as we're coming to I say towards the end of Vanguard. It feels as though we've not really had it for too long, but Tuscan Search is one that we do tend to see a lot of exchanges, a lot of 6-5s, a lot of 6-4s. It's rarely a map that we get a very, very one-sided scoreline on.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this so many times, Major, where we've come out of it, and not only that, the juxtaposition between who wins the first map to who wins on this Tuscan Search and Destroy is largely overturned. We usually see this go to 1-0 because we do tend to see, I mean, how many times have we seen a 6-1, a 6-0 on this map? Yeah. So do not be surprised right now if Ricochet come absolutely flying back. But, you know, as I said, we're still an unknown quantity largely for the guys from Milton. So, you know, where do we go with that one? They're so quick, they were so accurate. Is this going to be still a problem for the team in purple? They've got to regain pretty early doors.
Yeah, so one man who was very good in the hard point has just managed to rip a first blood out of them, and there's one kill that comes through. Duz is going to get a second one, so already a very, very quick opening start here for Milkers. See Stoker and Hayden both full. They've got a lot of A control. Icy is going to wide peek it though, and he's going to be punished as a result of it. There is still going to be another man on top of Lewis. He's going to be on the receiving end of some nice shots. And oh my god, the duo there of Ricochet Ultra. My goodness, for a second we thought that round was pretty much done. They come back through. 808 clears up the 3, and Rico mops up the 4th.
Oh my days, my brain. I honestly thought he got a collat at the end. I was like, have we just seen like one of the best reaction aces of all time, my brain? Like, you consider just how exposed Hayden, I thought, does Hayden think he's playing ranked here or something? Because he literally runs out into mid, gets bodied, and then from nowhere, unbelievable plays 808. You called him out earlier on as being, you know, an absolutely seminal player. Well, he's proved himself to be almost godlike in that round.
Well, there we go. First round on the ball for Ricochet in quite emphatic style. 808 now 3 in a row. He's going to receive a couple of shots though, courtesy of one man. Hayden's got to be careful because as soon as he peeks up, there's going to be a pick for Riz. He is just going to dip out. And this is a very fast-paced Tuscan Search and Destroy from what we're used to seeing. Stoker is going to manage to get a pick in reply to take down Icy. So now 2 versus 3. Stoker all the way in the back of the spawn. But my God, so far, Pablo, it has been it's been a very, very fast-paced search. It feels more like a hard point.
Does he know that Rico is just above him? This is the thing. The pace has slowed considerably from what has been an absolutely blinding start to that first round and a blistering start to the second round. It is a 3v2 with the advantage being firmly with Milkers right now. But I mean, I'm sure they're just as surprised as anyone at the results. Does is just going to make the decision just to hold fire. I think he's going to pass that information on, make sure that no one doubles back. He is going to try and go through bottom stairs here, but I think he's made quite a bit of noise, and I don't think he realises that player's going to be in behind Stoker with the handgun fired, and that's going to be a 2v2 major. Some awful timing, but Rico gets the kill, and that's going to be Riz last alive with 13 seconds remaining.
Oh, they're sticking the bomb as well here, so Rico put a couple of shots into him just to back him up, but Riz is really stuck between the rock and a hard place now. Did Rico spot him? Oh, no, he didn't, but the shots now are going to give away his position. So Riz still needs the 1 versus 2. 30 seconds left on the clock. Just trying to get some god timing potentially here to approach this. Is he going to manage to work his way up through that plat side? Because they are stacking it at the moment. Is Rico going to check the corner at the right time? Oh, the timing might be really good. Takes down Rico. 1 versus 1. You can see that Stoker's just going to retreat to the back line of the spawn. And he's on the hunt here as he's going for him. Stoker wins the gunfight. And it's going to be another round on the board for Ricochet Ultra after some patient play. But they managed to dig their heels in just about and hold on to that 1 versus 2. No clutch in this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tricky decision. He's, you know, it's great play by Stoker. He's given himself the distance to make the most use of the AR, and then it becomes really difficult for the player from Milkers. Does he kind of cover the ground and try and use that SMG, or does he go to bomb and try and bait the player out? And the time just isn't there. So in the end, good play from Ricochet Ultra. And you know, Major, you said it before that we do tend to see this complete kind of turnaround, the juxtaposition from the first map, and it's already 2-0 from a position where we thought Ricochet Ultra potentially we're going to go, you know, and slide down to an early 1-0. They've done considerably well and largely on the back foot as well. And Icy is going to continue that trend as he puts them on the back foot one more time. And it is going to be a 4 versus 3. And we've got 1 minute 10 on the clock.
Oh, Hayden in towards you. The team shots, I believe, were the result that gets him killed. It's now 2 versus 4 here for Ricochet Ultra, but don't count them out. We saw this position last time and it fell apart very, very quickly here. You can see though that number 6 going around the back is going to be Rico. I believe he got spotted on the cross there. So now it's all on Stoker. He's going to put a couple of shots in towards Icy. But you can see already. Oh, I think Does just yeeted himself off the map. Not sure whether that was intentional or not. Well, Stoker has 1 less player to work his way through. Because of that, he is going to get spotted though. Riz just playing for info. 25 seconds left on the clock. This is looking a little bit inevitable now unless he works something absolutely outrageous to take down these players.
Oh, he's going to need a bit of magic, and it's not going to come his way. Milker's going to provide the magic there as he gets a pretty simple kill. And at that position, when you've got that little time left, it's pretty much set and cut and dried that you're going to lose that round. It was some nice plays, and again, mystery behind Duz's little movement off the map, but it's going to put them into a bit more of a better position. And thankfully, Major, we're not going to see that 0 on the board for much longer. It's a nice performance really from Milkers. They get bombed down nice and early. They've got nice coverage across the middle of the map. They get an early pick and they make it count as well. And that's a trend really that Ricochet haven't been following. Their two rounds they've won have largely been on the back of some great reaction kills, but not on great strategy. So Milkers potentially on the ascendancy right now.
Yeah, so still waiting that first blood. Stoker is going to go on the hunt. A little bit of a standoff here in middle map, which we're not used to seeing, but this time Duz is going to get the first blood here in favour of Milkers once again. There's going to be some more auto shots just being exchanged across the middle portion of the map. Looks as though P5 is going to be the decision for those players to try and push through. And now Lewis spots one man. There's going to be a few more, though. He's going to spot... Oh, he's going to actually get the info and decide better against it here, maybe. As they are going to wrap that bomb all the way around. One thing that Stoker's got to be careful of, though, he has extended all the way out the back. They do not want to drop that bomb over there, but they are getting the kills to go with it. And wow, 3 versus 2. Now all of a sudden the round's been flipped on its head.
Yeah, absolutely, and I've just accused to Ricochet Ultra of potentially not having the correct strategy for the rounds they have won. Well, they've definitely employed that, and it's going to be Riz on his own. He's got a pretty easy one-shot right there. He manages to take down Stoker, and he's left himself in a 1v2 with 35 seconds. It's not impossible, but again, we've talked about how difficult with the time to kill clutches can be on this, and that's a beautiful shot, but it's not going to be enough, and Ricochet Ultra are going to extend their lead again to 2 rounds and take that to 3-1. Milkers, again, very close to doing the unthinkable, but again, clutches major is so difficult to come by in this game.
So, another round on the board there. Now it sees that deficit currently back to 2. So Ricochet Ultra, Hayden's still waiting for his first kill at the moment, so he's just chilling. 808 and the boys currently dragging him through the first 4 rounds of this search and destroy. But Ricochet Ultra, in case you guys did miss map number 1, it did finish 250 to 226 to Milkers. So we are just waiting to see whether or not Ricochet can tie up this best of 9, remember guys, so there's a long old evening of Call of Duty. Riz and Lewis though instantly get a couple of picks. Again, it's going to be a position where it's going to be a 2 versus 3. This time it's going to be Rico and Hayden. Hayden's not going to grab that pick, so now Rico last man up, and the bomb is going down as well, so that mountain's been made even harder to climb.
Yeah, 1v3, and in a game we've already seen, it's almost impossible to get a clutch in this, but Rico's got a bit of time on his hands this December. He's going to need a kill fairly soon, and he's going to drop over towards that field side, so it's going to be Milkers bringing this back to a 1-round deficit, and again, they're just, you know, still struggling to unlock the puzzle that is Ricochet, but, you know, bit by bit, they're just getting themselves and keeping themselves in the game. And it is going to be that 1 round that separates them. Ricochet Ultra still with the advantage in that we're still only at the... We're not even quite at the halfway point, particularly if Milkers can get the next round. But across the board, sharing responsibility, Major, that is one thing that's been a feature of this Milkers side. Yeah. No one left behind. But as you can see on the other side, Hayden only 2 off joining the agency. And, you know, this has been a big thing for Ultra. They've managed to get into the lead twice now without any support from, you know, what you would consider the talismanic figure. It is going to be 808 again, adding to his tally as he drops Riz. And it's going to be a 3v4 Major again as we hit the 1 minute 10 mark.
Oh, 808 there, just kind of doing what we're so used to seeing him do, just flying around the map, getting the picks to go with it, and another round this time. Looking very, very good here for Ricochet after a little bit of a stumbling block in the middle portion of it. Icy is now going to see himself in a position where he needs a 1 versus 4 and a defuse to go on with it, so pretty much the full shebang here required from Icy. Are we going to see his life off the edge? We are indeed. Off he goes down to a pancake man at the bottom of the pavement in Tuscan. But it's going to be another round on the board of Ricochet Ultra, Pablo. It's still going to be that 2-round cushion, and it's now going to be a position where they can't really afford to keep eking these rounds away here, Milkers. Otherwise, Ricochet are pretty much going to get this one done. And Hayden's still just chilling. His boys are doing it all for him.
I think he's at the door waiting for his takeout to turn up. 0-5, man. Pick your pad up. Your team with 2 rounds in the lead. You are being carried heavily right now by 808. And I mean, if he gets involved, this is game over for Milkers. They've tried, you know, some top tier strategy, and they've managed to get a couple of rounds, but just can't seem to keep up with 808's just raw ability to get those reaction kills. He's done it time and time again. He's got himself another kill. He's 8-3 and on a 3 streak as well. And as he do finally get a pick, it's going to be Icy, that player that we saw drop absolute numbers in the hard point. Right now on 5-4 again with his duo Riz 5-4 on the same scoreline, but they just can't unlock this enigma. It's so close. Icy probably doesn't know just how close that player is. He decides to transition. It is going to be a push over towards that B-bomb site.
Yeah, and Stoker. We saw Lewis actually do it last time. Oh, no, never mind. Might be 808 that's going to be the man to make the play. Will at least take down 1 with him, so you can see the instant repositioning of Stoker to see if anyone pushes through. They don't push out that well side, so he's going to just reposition over towards the plat side of the map, over towards that B site. Does, and Icy just waiting before they push through, but Icy's going to get cut down there by the auto shots of Stoker. I think Stoker might have spotted him as well, and he's going to leather him up with a few bullets. It's now going to be 17 seconds left for Duz to try and plant the bomb. He is actually going to get some really good timing here. Stoker for potentially Might have seen him off with those shots. It's not going to do enough, though. And now can he get some good timing? He's going to have to try and push out one side of the map here with the split of players. And he does spot Stoker out the back. Stoker again, he's going to tag up with bullets. He's going to desperately try and just worm his way out of that one. He's not going to be able to. And Hayden, the first thing he's done so far in the search, opts to defuse. And his team now 5-2 up. Ricochet in this middle portion, Pablo. They've looked very, very consistent.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know we're talking about them relying on these three players, but they've done so well. They've been, the coverage that they've got, sight on bomb. They've absolutely played this to perfection. They're getting the picks and largely on the back again of this gun skill coming off 808, who just appears to have flawless reaction time. And again, Hayden manages to pitch in finally, mate, with a bomb defuse. So he hasn't been dropped, which is great. So he's potentially on the cusp of managing to avoid the dreaded 0-7, but he's got the defuse, so it's not the 0-0. So right, 5-2 though, Major. You know, coming out of that barrage, you would have given Milkers probably a little bit more kind of credence in their ability, but you were quite right to point out how many times we've seen a complete flip in the S&D, and right now 5-2, that is absolutely huge. Does with a huge kill though, as he drops Rico, and Stoker falls as well, so it's going to be a 2v4, but Ricochet, Major, been in this position before.
Oh man,
it's going to be 8-8 now, man.
Yeah, Hayden got his first kill, but it was on a teammate, so hopefully the next time it's going to be on one of those red arrows here. But 808 is now in a position where he's going to have to clutch up here for his team. 1v3 required. Does have the bomb, but it looks as though he's going to maybe just try and play this slowly, or are we going to see another pancake man on the side of the map? 40 seconds left to go. I see he's just tucked away in the corner here, though, so if he doesn't check this, he's pretty much going to be dead to rights here. I see door opens. Oh, 808. Is he going to manage to work a little bit of magic here? He is just going to make a lot of noise. You can see he's going to get pinned in, though. Oh, but he manages to win the first gunfight, so he's going to push out potentially one of the lanes. He's going to dip back towards the P5. Is he going to take Icy down? No, he's not. So no excuse there for dropping that first one, but they do manage to mop him up with the second.
Mate, honest to God, when he drops out of that and gets that kill, I was like, there is no way he's doing this. But yeah, the ice in the veins is right there for Icy. He manages to get the pick, and it was never really in question. Again, that's going to put the boys from Milkers back into this 2-round deficit. And again, they're in this position where they seem to still struggle to unlock this enigma that is Ricochet Ultra's S&D prowess. And largely on the back, obviously, of 808, who's above double positive. A huge performance coming out of him. I mean, I just can't look at Hayden's scoreline seriously. 0-6, and they're on the cusp of winning the S&D. So I mean, you can't ask for much better performance coming out of the other three players. But this is huge right now, and that's a big kill. Lewis gets a huge kill. He's been on the struggle bus. Well, that's probably mean to say he's on the struggle bus, but 5-6, he manages to get himself closer to being that balanced KD. But that kill is huge right there, and we do see Stoker drop as well. So Major, as we hit the 1 minute mark, it is going to be Does with bomb, and it's going to be a 3v3.
Yeah, and I was interested to see how much damage Hayden has put out. He's put almost 800 damage out and still not got a kill. Maybe we need a prayer. Lord, please bless this man with a singular kill so he's not on the timeline. We'll have to see whether or not the prayer has worked. There is going to be one man ready to chal him out the back here. And nope, the prayer was not answered, as it's going to be a kill that comes through for Duz to take him down. But now they're in a position where Ricochet Ultra have got quite a bit of control over the top of that A site. Never mind, 808 is going to actually give it up a little bit here. Oh, is he going to spot Duzzo lane prone? So the bomb will get dropped over towards that side of the map. Next kill is going to be really, really important here. Rico is going to have a man in Icy just underneath him. They are just waiting before they try and stick this bomb. The bomb is now going to go down here for Milkers. 808 and Rico, 2v2, need to try and retake the site.
Just watching that, I wondered whether he pushed out from underneath Church, but he hadn't. He manages to keep himself in. Church goes top, gets the kill, and it's going to put Rico in at 1v2, but he's got a little bit of information, so he knows those players are in and around, but whether he makes that correct choice, he decides to double back, and I think he's going to check to see if there's anyone with sight on bomb, and that's going to give them the information. That's a huge kill from Rico, though. He goes absolutely off, and with 18 seconds remaining, this is eminently doable. He's going to just stick to defuse. We say about this all the time, but finally, Milkers unlocked that puzzle. They brought it back to 1 round. And the question is, Major, Ricochet about to throw this away?
Oh, man. I just feel if they let this one slip, this will be a really, really big kick in the teeth here for Ricochet Ultra. They've had a bit of a cushion. That cushion hasn't completely gone, but we're right on the cusp of around 11, and the waft is slowly starting to sink in here. Ricochet.
That's a late waft, isn't it?
It just... I didn't see it coming, to be fair. I thought Ricochet was surely going to see this. I thought Hayden would have at least got a kill on the board by now, but it's still going to be a position where It's still a close match somehow. But now they are going to flood all the way over towards the B site. You can see that Icy, I think, is going to be the man just to wrap out and reposition. But the site control is already there for Ricochet Ultra. They've got one man going out the back though, 808. Got to be careful not to overextend too much. He's going to spot the head of Icy. No, he's not. So Icy, first blood, is going to be granted straight towards them with a first class stamp. And now opportunity 4 versus 3 to retake the site here.
That was super kind of overexposed play coming out of the boys from Ricochet. Does is going to get himself right into the position to start to get that defuse. I don't know whether he has decided to do it. Hayden got to go big on the waft. Major is more than a waft now. We are seeing an absolute big dollop of round 11, and Milkers have done absolutely amazing work to bring this back. And we talked about their ability as a team to just take responsibility. Every player gets kills, follows a strategy, gets a trade, and it's really started to pay off. And now we're starting to see that huge kind of anchor the Haydens become, dragging the boat that is Ricochet Ultra into the waves right now. 1 and 8, and you looked at the complete flip of it, an 808, 13 and 7, to having to do the entire amount of work for that one player. Milker's now on the cusp of going 2-0 up.
Oh, and first blood again is going to be an instant one. 808 couldn't manage to do what he's done quite successfully so far in this map in pushing out towards the middle portion of it. And now they're going to be down a man. And more importantly, they're down the man that has provided 13 kills for them so far in this search and destroy. Lewis and Hayden still exchanging pleasantries down this long side of the map. Hayden just waiting for maybe a bit of an overpeak here. I don't think Lewis is going to grant it to him. And meanwhile, there's going to be another pick. Rico's going to grab one. Hayden will get a pick down towards that side of the map, though. So Hayden is going to grab another one. So now 2 versus 3. Stoker does still have the bomb. Is he just waiting again to try and grab a pick? Is he going to spot Icy up top? He is going to spot him. If Icy repeaks this, he might be in a bit of trouble here. Hayden going to progress his way down this left side of the map. Bomb in the hand still of Stoker. He's got to be careful, though, not to drop it in a really awkward spot here. Hayden's got to also be careful not to overextend. He is going to spot Riz out the back, though. Riz throwing a couple of shoulders is going to dip out. Stoker needs to plant the bomb. 25 seconds, spots one man off the top rope. Icy's going to go straight on towards the tank, and he's going to be in a position now where they've only got 20 seconds left. They still don't have this bomb planted. Somebody has got to go quickly. Hayden watching out the back. Is he going to get the pick onto Icy? No, it's going to be the search and destroy that is going to absolutely ruin him in the grand scheme of things. And Milkers take it 6-5. That regain towards the end there, Pablo. I didn't see that coming, but fair play to these boys. They are now 2-0 up.
Mate, we said from the start, man, Ricochet didn't play very strategically well. They just managed to get so many good reaction kills entirely on the back of 808, who gets 11 non-traded kills from the outset. But that's like a false positive, it gives them a couple of rounds, but it's not on the back of good S&D play. It's largely on the back of really good gun skill. But you look at Milker's statistics, man, they are playing across the board. Each of them are getting multiple kills. They're getting a good trades as well. Strategically, they're getting bomb site control. They know when to use distance and know when to cover ground. So, they were slowly but surely unpicking the work of Ricochet Ultra. And at the end of the day, it came down to good strategy and not just that kind of like insane play. So good work from Milkers, and well deserved, mate. 2-0 lead that they absolutely do deserve. Ricochet Ultra on the back foot. Yeah. I mean, something we didn't see, but god damn it, they played well.
And I think that's a really, really big kick for the morale of Ricochet Ultra. That was a map where was it 5-2 up? I think they were, and then they thought, right, okay, we've got a map under our belt, probably at least here. You would expect we'll tie it back 1 up and go in towards a Gavutu control, pretty much back to evens. But now they see themselves 2-0 down in a series where, albeit Milkers still have to win 3 more maps, which isn't going to be easy against his roster. But Ricochet Ultra can't keep affording to let some of these maps slip. If they let this Gavutu slip as well, although it's not done, they're just going to make their evening so much harder. And with a man who typically I see so consistently put up numbers for this team, Hayden had a horrific map by his standards, and subsequently 808 had a really good one, couldn't even carry him through that one. So you just feel that if they're just not quite on all of their games as a 4, Milkers will make them pay, because as you flagged up, Pablo, they always seem to kind of, they've pulled their weight very, very evenly so far from what we've seen, and then a couple of their big hitters have just pushed them over the edge, which is what they're going to need to go through, Ricochet, and they're doing it.
It's almost a kind of perfect strategy. You know, everyone's firing on all cylinders, everyone's getting kills, and that foundation allows the players like Riz and Icy and Hardpoint to go absolutely huge, and then you roll that back and you see well again we think it was Icy and Riz that go off kind of towards the end of that S&D, but it allows them to do that when you know that you haven't got someone performing like Hayden just did. Lewis and Duz are putting up good numbers, and they're doing that in the hardpoint as well. Now my fear right now for Ricochet is we're going into a Gav control, so just from the 2 games that we've already seen, this is potentially going to be a Milkers kind of type of map and type of mode. Potentially it's about the same size as Tuscan. It kind of plays very similar. You've got to make a good break over to an unusual zone, get those ticks, and I think this plays into Milkers' hands. And then you're going to be hitting into these 3 big maps: Berlin, Siege, and Tuscan. Now that could be great for Ricochet, in terms of ARs. That could give a bit more of an opportunity for those players that prefer a larger map to do well. And if we do manage to bring that back to 3-all, they hit a Bocage, S&D, and they were back into 2 smallish maps. So this is going to be very difficult for Ricochet. It's 2-0 and it's not looking great for them at the minute. Huge regain needed, and they've got to look to their talisman, who just had a shocking game in Hayden.
Yeah, well, I think credit where it's due. This AR duo of Ricochet Ultra, I believe, which is Stoker and Hayden predominantly, they've really, really struggled. IC especially has been keeping them quiet in some of those gunfights where I think they're used to commanding large portions of the map, courtesy of those auto players, and they're really not allowing them any sort of important kills and any sort of map control, really, that we're used to seeing Ricochet Ultra command. So it'll be interesting to see, again, going on to a map which you do need to get the middle portion of the map controlled in Gavutu. No pun intended with the game mode on this one, but you tend to see that those auto players, if they're on fire on Gavutu, it is so difficult, especially for the SMG players, to even get anywhere on the map if their AR players aren't watching over them, aren't getting the picks. And you do fear that if the likes of Icy are still on top of their game in this map as well, Ricochet Ultra, they're really going to have to kind of lean on potentially that flex player, that 3rd assault rifle that we're so used to seeing on a Gav, to really kind of drag them through it if the other boys can't really carry them through it as they're so used to doing.
Yeah, and I think this is going to come down to that boat and P1 control, especially for the likes of Milkers on attack. So I think if they can get the likes of Icy posted up and protected to an extent, it's going to give them the kind of coverage that right now the boys from Ricochet just aren't able to offer. And that's just not been one map. That's been both maps where we've seen their predominant kind of AR player just not really put up the figures that you would expect them to. They started off badly. They haven't improved at all. It did look good for them at the start of the S&D, but things haven't got any better. And this is not let's be honest, Major, this isn't a map of modes you go into if you're on the back foot. It's not what you want to see. Ideally, you might want to see a hard point in Bocage, but you don't. Even a Tuscan controller potentially take over this, but right now, or Berlin control even better. You can get A. You've only got that battle towards B, which you can turn into a TDM. I mean, this is not the best way to go about things. So again, Major, the most important thing right now for the boys from Ricochet is, are they going to start on defense or attack? I think if they start on attack, it could be problematic for them. If they start in that defensive position, this could be a good opportunity for them to turn things around. We've seen it done a million times before, and it is going to be the boys from Ricochet on defense. So this is their big opportunity, Major, to start to bring things back in this best of 9.
Yeah, we're going to start it off with an absolute mess over towards the hill, and 808. There you go. The man who has put up big numbers is going to chew through the trio of players over towards that side. I see though up towards top boat is going to be that man that just quietens him down just a little bit. Riz and Lewis are also going to combine for a few kills here. So Rico going to be the lone man over towards the boat. Is going to spot a couple of players potentially any second now. Does inside the point. Is he going to get the pick onto at least him? No, he's not. The kill feed very red in the early stages of it. 808. His boys need to try and spawn in a little bit and lend him a helping hand, because his A control already and middle map control, Pablo, while Riz is on the B point, is a little bit worrying for Ricochet, even in the early stages.
Yeah, and they've been completely distracted all the way over, and that's going to flip them A zone almost exclusively, and they can't even get B. They're getting absolutely bodied. Hayden needs... he gets taken down. Oh, my days. Hayden needs a confidence booster right now, and he's not going to get it. Lewis is in there. He's in behind. They're going to get A. They pretty much got A. This has been an absolute disaster for Ricochet on the defense. Lewis again takes up that really awkward position. Major, they're going to get B, and they're going to have 90% of A already got.
Oh man, it just kills though. Look at the lives. They're down now by 8. There's another kill that comes through for Duz, who's going to keep his head down while those players just try and look over the top of him. You can see that Hayden's going to push in, surely going to get the kill. On this occasion, Rico's actually going to be the man to grab him that kill. And yeah, it just looks as though Hayden's confidence is absolutely in the mud at the moment. But all they need now is one good push, or to at least just chew through some more lives here. This has been a really, really brutal start again for Ricochet Ultra. Those AR players are really dominating them at the moment. Lewis being one of them, who we saw on the ES Cynical roster, actually, Pablo, who got milked religiously. I believe he dropped 50, was it, on this one? So they're obviously coming up against a very prestigious AR player that knows how to play this map, and all they need is one more tick, and they're down to 9 lives.
Mate, this is insane. You talk about one more push, but someone needs to give birth to Hayden, because he's 1 and 5 right now. Stoke is 2 and 4. His team needs to turn up, 1 tick away from taking the first round at 1 minute 19. Icy has gone absolutely off. Hayden having to hide and get picks. This has been an absolute domination right now. You can just see purple skulls everywhere. This is a game of, I mean, it's count the purple skulls at times. 14 lives, plays 3, 1 minute 15 on the clock. This has been an absolute demolition in round 1. Milkers, man, I don't know where to begin. That was a beautiful performance right there.
It just looks as though their heads are gone at the moment. Ricochet, they need to just steady the ship, no pun intended here, because at the moment they're just throwing bodies at everything, kind of willy-nilly, a bit single file. And Milkers are punishing them for every single small mistake that they make at the moment. So that, more importantly, Pablo, it's not just a round on the board, it's an attacking round on the board, and it's a very, very one-sided attacking round on the board at that. So Ricochet, they're going to have to try and return the favour here in this second round, and if they can't even get some form of slaying power and momentum going, you just feel though this map is probably already done before it's even really started.
And they've already got this kind of 1 life advantage. They're set up so strong. Again, you can see his purple skulls. 28 lives, plays 26, and right now they just seem to... honestly, I feel like we're watching a ranked team. They're just all over the show. There's shots everywhere. There doesn't appear to be any cohesive strategy. They are going to try and get across towards that B zone, but the control coming out of Milkers, they've got every lane covered. They look pretty much settled. They know where, if they're not getting the picks, Major, they know where the players are. So the rest of the team are just swarming in and getting kills. Finally, we see 2 kills come out of Stoke and Hayden on the board. They're going to tie things up to 24 lives to 24, and they're finally going to get onto that A zone. So a little bit of confidence starting to come back into the game, but they've got a long way to go yet. 2-0 down, 1 down in this control, and this is going to be a huge regain required. It's time to pop the Red Bull, lads, because you've got a lot of picks. Oh my days.
Oh my goodness.
That's not what you need.
Oh man, 808 is going to get a team kill. He will grab one onto Icy, so the game progression is still coming through. And quick shout out to my boy, Mr. Allen. Thank you very much for the resub, Allen. I'll see you later, beautiful. Thank you very much, buddy. But there's going to be that A point now secured for Ricochet. But now they have to try and do the more difficult thing on the Gabutu control and taking the B site. Does is going to be in towards the middle section of the map. Manages to rip the head off of Rico. And you can see that number 4, Lewis, is pushed up down that right-hand side of the map. So he might be able to get a couple of kills. Potentially, no, he's going to get shot in the back with some rough timing there. Does, though, is still going to be here to pick up the pieces. Stoker, that's a lot better, though. They are starting to just trade their way a little bit up the map. Something which, even from the simple side of things, they've really, really struggled to do so far. They've got Icy as well, a man that has been a thorn in their side all series long, locked up into the headies. And this is where, Pablo, you're looking towards those AR players to really try and make the opening pick and opening play. And at the moment, it looks as though they're kind of doing that at the moment. A couple of kills going in their favour.
Yeah, the pace has just changed ever so slightly. It's not as chaotic, so it's just playing in the hands of a slightly slower player. And as you say, that Riz goes absolutely off. Backed up by Duz, who's just been causing absolute murder over towards middle. And he does finally get that kind of rampage ended by 808. But yeah, you're quite right. They've managed to get themselves a few picks. They're not quite getting the geography, I think, to go with those kills. But with only 8 kills required, they do need maybe 1 more push. And I think if they don't get it, though, potentially going to be a worry for them, as Milkers do look to try and get this defense in. They've slowed things down and they've brought that life count back down to a 7 versus 9, and with only 18 seconds remaining, they've probably just got enough in the tank to be able to see this out. Yeah, the next picks though have to be red, and that's exactly what they are. Good work coming through from Duz once again. Every single player is pulling their weight, and on the flip side of it, 808 has got the world's biggest backpack at the moment, as he's desperately trying to keep his boys in a shout with this one, but it's not going to be a round that goes in their favour. Milkers take another round. 2-0 up they go. And 808, he needs to try and just pull the troops together here, because at the moment, Rico, Stoker and Hayden, they are not enjoying their life at the moment up against these Milkers boys, and they
they're just dropping rounds one after another. And I mean, the way we saw that first attacking round goes, Pablo, it wouldn't surprise me if we see a 3-0.
Mate, they appear to have just slowed down completely. I mean, 8-8, 17 and 12. And, you know, if he might be a quiet kind of guy, but if it's anyone else, they're going to be like, what are you guys doing? You've got to be hitting your shots. You know, they're just whatever when they've got a 50-50 opportunity, they're looking the wrong way. They get picked and not managing to get the kills. Finally, we do see a nice opening, but again, it is on the defense, and they've struggled so much last time. You can see how much respect they've given the Milkers boys. They've got 2 players over towards P1 looking to get the pinch because they're worried about that push towards B. Well, inadvertently, it's given the boys from Ricochet Ultra that little bit of coverage that they've been looking for, and this has been a much better defense, particularly at the start, that they give themselves a 3 life advantage, and there's only 50 seconds remaining, and at the minute, no ticks either side. So great play there from Ultra, and a lot more cohesion coming out to the team in purple.
Yeah, they are starting to milk this time a little bit now, just by not granting any sort of opportunity for them to get on towards that other point. You can see over towards the left side of the map, 808 is just causing a bit of an issue for the boys of Ricochet. The boys of Milkers, apologies, as they do finally get on towards that A point. They are trailing by 3 lives, but they are going to finally stop that clock. The progression is now going to start coming through, and the next set of kills might be really important here for Ricochet. If they can just clean these players off the point, they might be able to start getting that spawn trap going, which they did do quite well in the early stage of this round. But you can see that Riz is going to lean towards the site. 808 doesn't realise he's there. There's another pick that comes through for Icy as well, so they combine for 3 alongside Duz. Icy is going to get taken down by the nade, and Rico going to mop up the pieces. This is what they're going to need to do a little bit more of, though, but they are going to still allow that man in Lewis on the point. Stops the clock. A point has now been done. 1 minute additional on the clock, and the life count's still pretty close here, but Ricochet doing a much better job in this round.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is still largely on the back of 808, who's managed to get himself nearly at 25 kills. And again, Hayden massively on the struggle bus. I think he's taken the beach towel on the deck chair and manages to prop himself up on the beach, because he's 9 and 17, 1 off double negative. It's not been a great series so far for the Welshman, and he's got this opportunity now, possibly the last opportunity before they go 3-0 down, to try and bring this back and get a game and a round on the board even. So a big regain required. I mean, almost exclusively by the one player. You feel thinking, like you pointed it out earlier on, if Hayden has a good game, Ricochet has a good game. Well, he's yet to have even a reasonable amount of kills in the game thus far. Milkers doing everything they can. Again, they've still got this 2 life deficit, but you can see number 4 there in Lewis is slowly starting to try and creep around, and he's got a little bit of support coming out of Duz. So a big moment right now. Number 5 hasn't read that 808, manages to creep into P1 without being spotted. I do think number 1 there will have seen him. So it is going to come down to number 7 Stoker on the beach to try and get that P1 control. And again, it is nearly been a beautiful defense. Number 4 in Lewis, though, he manages to make his way all the way round, and that is going to be huge, Major. 10 seconds on the clock.
They've got to keep him alive, though. Duz is going to push up quite aggressively here, and it's going to allow them to get in towards the point. The contest is going to be here, though, as Duz stops the timer, manages to take down 1. He's going to try and slip his way over towards the boat. You can see, though, the man in Hayden is going to have a little bit of bouncy in between the 2 of them as they're going to exchange bullets, as he's trying to keep his head down. You can see, though, number 5, though, 808, making the play up towards the top he goes. He's going to just take down the gunners that are looking after them, and that's exactly what they do. And the man at the moment, after 3 rounds, has dropped 30 kills, and they really owe this round to him, as they do finally get one on the board. But now they're back on the attacking side, Pablo, and they're going to need even more magic from this man.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's a one-man army right now in 808. And it's been incredible. He's been incredible in the S&D. He's been incredible in the control. And right now, the boys from the rest of the team of Ricochet Ultra really need to take some inspiration, because everyone is down bad. I mean, Hayden's only just off the back of a double negative. We've got, Rico only 4 off that double negative. Stoker's down bad. So huge moment right now. Ricochet Ultra with a good opportunity to regain, but they've got to do this on the most difficult, kind of way possible. An attacking round on a Gavutu control is no friend to the team that's behind. And Riz is going to take up that very unbearable prone position, and he's going to give himself a good opportunity to potentially get some picks. A bit of a fight going down towards beach, but it's going to be Lewis who gets the kill. And right now, 28 lives plays 29. This is a huge round for Ricochet Ultra in this series.
Well, the shots are surprisingly a little bit wayward there from IC. We're so used to seeing him take off heads. There's one as Hayden falls. They are going to try and collapse in on the man on the hill, but he does have help, and Lewis is going to get a couple of bullets put into him as well, but Lewis does take him down, so they are going to get taken and dropped over towards that B site, but now it is going to open out that lane over towards the A1. Stoker now up towards the top boat is going to try and command a couple of players in middle map, but no, he's going to grab one before he falls. 808's going to grab a pick, and it's just a little bit of back and forth in mid map, but it's going to be Ricochet Ultra that are going to finally get back on that A point. You can see that Icy has pushed himself up a little bit, and he has been spotted there by Stoker. Must have his binoculars on. I didn't even spot him in the X-ray, so nice work there from him to grab that information that he is there. Icy is now going to try and make the play around the back, but meanwhile, all the carnage has kind of pretty much unfolded, but there's one pick for him. He's now on streaks as well here, so this is a really big potential kill on the cards here. The man in the sight in Hayden is going to get spotted, and Hayden there, he's had a rough series, but if he doesn't get that kill, that could be a big moment for him and his team, because they looked as though they might be on the precipice of getting a glide bomb there, Milkers, but Hayden has absolutely none of it.
Yeah, that's a really big kill, and sometimes you can have a terrible game and just, you know, occasionally get a massive kill that can swing the entire tide. Right now, it's only a 19 lives, plays 17, so it's still relatively close, but does trying to go off inside the zone right now. Icy's going to be top there. He doesn't get the picks, though, and there's a little bit of back and forth as they chase around that top stairs. There's going to be a dip, though, and you can see right now just how much control the boys in purple are trying to get around this A zone. They're just not able to do it. That's a huge kill, though, as Riz drops towards middle. That's going to maintain some control for Ricochet at the front of the boat, and those three players are going to spawn out in the patience coming out of Lewis again, who's just looking to try and cause some problems over towards spawn, and problems he does cause as he drops Hayden one more time. 1 minute 11 on the clock, and they do still need to get this B zone done. Major, this is a big battle that's about to ensue, and right now that is not good. Icy goes huge as he manages to bring down, is that a 6 life differential as we hit that post 1 minute mark.
Oh man, Ricochet, it was looking like it was light at the end of the tunnel, but that team kill along with the kills that came through for Milkers has made it look very bleak indeed. They're now down to 6. They've got 45 seconds to try and muster up something here. You feel they need probably at least 2 waves of kills here, and then just a stack on the point. But Duz is watching his lane. He takes down Stoker. Off the top rope goes Hayden. He's on 1 HP. Just has a peanut flick at him, and he will drop. That's exactly what happens. Riz takes him down. And now no more respawns. Riz has pushed himself up the map. Stoker, though, is going to take him down. But meanwhile, Icy's going to get a pick onto the MVP, arguably, for their team at the moment in 808. So now they're going to have to do it 3 versus 13. There's one pick that comes through, but now it's all going to be on Stoker. 15 seconds left on the clock. This has been an absolutely brutal map number 3, as Stoker's going to try and regain a little bit as they just throw absolutely everything at him. And Milkers, wow, they are looking very strong at the moment, Pablo.
I mean, that's a destruction right there. If you're, looking for a confidence regain in the control, well, you just have not got that confidence regain. Ultra, I mean, put to the sword from the outset in one of the most dominant round 1 performances. And again, Major, we talk about the stats on Milkers across the board, man. Everyone hitting 24 and above. Everyone's getting almost the same kind of ballpark figure for non-traded kills. And on the other side, you've got 808 trying to do a ton of work and not really getting any support coming out of the rest of his team. Now this is where it gets interesting. Those 3 maps very similar, kind of like we got this kind of like small, middle, larger map kind of vibe. We're about to hit the 3 big maps. We're going to be hitting into a Berlin, a Desert Siege, and I think it's another
It's a Tuscan control.
Tuscan control. So this could be an absolute, this is where we talk about how the best of 9 can absolutely turn things on its head. The game is nowhere near done. The boys from Milkers still need to win 2 if they wanted to see this off now. So we have still got a long night of COD ahead, because that Berlin Siege and Tuscan are going to change things completely. I think this is going to play into the hands of Ultra a little bit more. I think we're going to see a better performance coming out of Hayden EU, and this could be, it wouldn't surprise me if we see this be 3-all as we hit those last 3 maps, but they've still got a lot of work to do. They've still got a lot of confidence that they need to regain. They need to just put those first 3 maps out of their mind now. They think this is a best of 6. We just need to crack on. We need to start right now at this Berlin hard point. Let's get our strategy correct and let's get our kills.
Yeah, it just feels as though if 808 can get a bit of help, they'll be in a chance for this one, because he's had a really good set of maps, to be fair to him. What was it, 13 in the search? He's then dropped, what was it, 35 in the Gav control there. It's just,
I was literally pulling that face all the way through, like,
yeah, it's like they just need to try and kind of, the other 3 lads just kind of need to pull themselves together a little bit here, because again, we're kind of, although it is going onto a map which potentially might allow them a little bit more of a regain here, you still look to some of these hills and some of this map control on Berlin, and AR presence is still very important. I mean, Vanguard as a whole, pretty much, apart from Bocage, if your assault rifle players are struggling, your SMG players tend to struggle as well. Obviously, 808 being a bit of an exception in that map where he was running, I believe he was running an auto for pretty much the whole map, so it looks as though he's kind of running that flex role. I'm not sure if Ricochet Ultra were running 4 ARs at one point in that one. It looks as though they might potentially have been. Same with Milkers as well. I can't recall if anyone was running an SMG. It might be four autos against each other, but yeah, Berlin, again, is still a map where if the ARs aren't on point, they're not going to allow their players to transition over to some of these hills like that. The P5 hill, if you try and push through kind of the part where the middle statue is and into fire, if you've got an assault rifle player that your team cannot budge watching over that portion of the map, you've got no hope of getting to some of these hills quickly. You're going to have to take the longer route, or then you're going to try your luck down dockside, which again, very AR heavy side of the map. So especially if you get to a P3, Milkers are in the hill, and they've got an assault rifle watching down that dockside. They've got an assault rifle man who's watching in towards fire. If they can't budge those players, Ricochet are really, really going to struggle to get any sort of time on that hill. And I definitely think that P3, keep an eye on that one, because if they can't budge these ARs, they are going to lose a lot of time on some of these hills.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously a lot of that responsibility is going to fall on Hayden. He really does need to pick things up, and not just him. Obviously, the other two players that have been playing, you know, reasonably poorly are going to need to contribute as well. It's a good opportunity, though, if you're someone like 808, especially if he's going to pick up the SMG in this one, to maybe just like more creative routes, just to kind of mix things up a little bit and try and get the Milkers guys out of their comfort zone. Because unfortunately for Ricochet right now, the Milkers are absolutely nailed into that like Goldilocks area of COD right now. Their shots are on point, their hit reg is on point, their strategies are on point, nothing is going wrong for them. So this is, you know, they need to shake things up, they need to play awkward, they need to kind of break the rhythm right now of the boys from Milkers. Berlin is a great map for doing that as well. It's kind of big, you can chalk hills. It's not something you can necessarily do on a Bocage because it's so tight. Obviously Tuscan S&D is not really going to work in that, and they just got bodied in Gavutu control, but Berlin gives them that first opportunity to say, you know what, lads, this hill isn't working, let's get set up, let's regain. They can't do it too much, but at least they can do it, you know, maybe once or twice to try and regain mid-map, and this is the big opportunity. They need their ARs on point, and they need a good route man now to try and break and really mess with the heads of the players from Milkers.
Yeah, and I think as well, because obviously we've got this as a hard point, but then our other hard point later on in map 8, I believe, is a Tuscan. It definitely feels as though, especially what we saw in the Bocage, although we're used to seeing it in a Bocage, Milkers were very, very comfortable in just punching in towards the hill. And I do fear for Ricochet. They can chalk time, they can rotate. But if they don't hold that first wave of players, it's all pretty much going to be for nothing. We've seen quite a few teams that have done the right thing. They've chalked the time, they've rotated, they've got ready, say for P4 over towards the train track side. But then all it's taken is a couple of picks from an AR. If you've got a man kind of sat out the back that gets ripped off of the heady out the back, if you've got a man in the tower that drops, that person inside the hill all of a sudden becomes incredibly isolated. And you do fear for them that if they can't get those important waves of kills, it's just going to be so difficult. But we're not going to cancel them out just yet, because I say we know what Ricochet as an organization have got under their belts. We've seen so many series where we think, oh, Ricochet, they're probably going to lose this one, and then all of a sudden they start to turn up a little bit. So I wouldn't count them out in this map number 4. We just, from what we've seen anyways, from a side that we've not really seen a huge amount of, I say it's only really Lewis and Icy, I think, that are names that I recognize anyway from this Milkers roster. I know how good Lewis is and how consistent he is as an assault rifle player, and he's really putting the boys of Ricochet through their paces here. So it's another refreshing roster that we see, Pablo, that are up against a team that I tag to be probably one of the favourites in this one. And we're
absolutely done really well. I mean, I'd say they're in this position now where they've just got to be super comfortable and super confident, and that's what the boys from Ricochet really need to shake Milkers out of that position now, because they haven't really given them anything to worry about. There's not really been a position, you know, these guys have got to be so comfortable, like they sit back with their feet up on the desk, they're not missing shots, and Ricochet need to make it, you know, a challenge now. They need to remind Milkers that they are in the grand final for a reason, and right now that's going to rest almost exclusively on the shoulders of Hayden, who's got to go big. We know he's vocal, you know, both of us have played with him before, we know just how loud he can be, but he's got to get himself together. He needs to give himself the regain and motivate himself to try and go big, and if he can do that and get his SMGs to kind of play awkward routes and get it in and among the Milkers guys, it's going to be huge. But as you say, again, you can't chalk too many hills, and the psychology of chalking a hill again is one of potentially being on the back foot, and it's going to be a huge huge fight and no one goes down. Finally, we do some shades and Major. It's going to be Hayden with the first kill.
There you go, Hayden. Oh, going to get the second on the Icy. No, he's not. The man who's been the thorn in their side pretty much whole series long. He's going to grab one pick. He's going to get a wall bang there onto 808 as well. So the AR presence already is here to party as Icy's now already on a 4 streak. They will have to be careful of Stoker going around the back though, because he might be able to chew through a few of them. There's one for him. Isn't going to spot any more though, as that man in Icy is just in the corner to his left. Big gunfight potentially up for him here, and Stoker, good work. Grabs that pick, will help his team grab that remaining time, and already it's going to be an important set of gunfights for these boys over towards the rotation. Rico, who has been struggling pretty much all series long, alongside Stoker and Hayden, is going to now just push his way down towards this side, over towards the hill, but the kill feed lights up red in the early stages. Rico, though, doing a good job, just staying alive for the time being.
Yeah, really big kills. Rico gets a 2-piece. He finally gets gunned by Lewis, who creeps into the back. And again, big fights going down towards that dock side, but it is going to be the boys from Milkers with a little bit of control going into P2. And you can see those purple arrows just trying to squeeze in. Lewis again proving just what an absolute pain he can be on the map. Gets a big kill, finally gets taken down as Hayden and Rico break into the hill. And they're going to get a little bit of control. There's still 28 seconds remaining on this, so a good chunk of change remaining could potentially put whatever team does get control, which it does look like it's going to be Ricochet Ultra, who've managed to just get a little bit of geography now between themselves and the boys in red. And you can see there is a final attempt to try and get across. It is going to be met there by Rico, and that trade is going to go out. So Major, a really nice start to this. And you know, we saw that Bocage hard point where they got, you know, a few seconds off P1 and then largely fell by the wayside. This is a completely different story, but we're now at the hill that you were talking about. Can they break P3?
They need to try and shift Lewis down this dock side, and Lewis, he's probably not going to move off this head. You know what Lewis is like. He's just going to sit here and allow those players to push on towards him. But now Hayden's going out the back, but there's one kill that goes in their favour, but instantly gets cut down. And now this is the difficulty. They've got to try and resist the urge of just punching in towards the front of the hill. They've got to try and hit this as a unit. Can they manage to get these picks? There's one pick potentially. No, does. He's going to manage to spin around, and he wins a gunfight there onto 808, which he pretty much shouldn't do. Icy going to be watching in towards fire. Ricochet looks as though they're still going to send bodies out the back. Hayden with 1, Hayden with 2. That's a lot better there from Hayden, and his teammates have him to thank for potentially some nice kills there. Once again from him, 3 in a row, 10 and 3. Looking for the man on the hill though in Riz, and it will be him and 808 that grab those kills, grab the scrap time. But the boys in Milkers ready for the rotation. But at least Hayden has he showed up this time, Pads. He's here to party.
Well, at least we know he's definitely got a pad, because that S&D was starting to get worrying at times. But again, the boys in Milkers set up onto P4. They managed to get a really nice chunk of change over towards that P3. You can see just how well he held it for around 38 seconds. So big time right there. And they're set up quite nicely. But again, it's this problem for the boys from Toronto. Toronto, where am I going? I see purple and I'm obsessed with Toronto. From Ricochet Ultra, there's too much going on for my small brain. But again, you've got to look at Milkers. They were defending from the back, defending from the front, and still no control coming from Ricochet. But the important thing is they've managed to keep the team in red off the kill, and that's the big thing. If you can't get access to it, at least do as much as possible to keep them off. And as I say that, the Milkers boys get back on, and that's going to be an early 40-second lead, or about 3 seconds shy of it.
Yeah, big opening start here from Milkers. They do manage to get the man off the scrap time. Hayden going to grab his 13th kill. Lewis, though, is still up in the top of warehouse and will manage to get a pick onto Hayden's teammate there in Stoker. Rico just waiting over towards this P5 set of steps over towards the top 30. Is now going to potentially hop on towards the hill. He will do that, but look at Riz just playing it patiently, waiting to see as and when he can try and push this man off the hill. They do take one man off the hill. He's opted not to move here at the moment, Riz. He's surely going to try and make a play any second now, and he will manage to take that man down. So now 3 drop. Milkers back on the hill, and again, Pablo, it looks as though Ricochet going to have to try and rely on their ability to push their way back in towards the hill, which we know can be messy, but at the moment, Milkers, decent chunk of time in the early stages of it.
And that little bit of control over towards middle's absolutely huge. It is going to be Hayden who manages to sneak through. He is going to have to get in behind. This could potentially cause a few problems from Ricochet, because they're potentially going to be spawned out, and you can see number 2. In fact, they do get that kind of spurious spawn, and it's 17 seconds remaining on P5. That is not what you want, as the boys from Milkers are going to get set up over towards P1. That's going to leave Stoker with a huge responsibility. He's got to get some picks if he's going to see his team in purple be able to make it way through, and you can see the patience out towards the back from Icy with another big kill as he drops 808. and that's going to be a really huge for this second rotation. As Milkers is set up one more time on that P1. Strategy abounds for the team in red, but the aggression and the raw gun skill coming out of Ricochet just means there is some kind of battle, a kind of war of attrition over towards this P1.
They need to try and take Duz out the hill. They will finally pinch him from pretty much every single angle imaginable. Hayden going to have a one-on-one up against Icy. Meanwhile, inside the hill, shots being exchanged there through every single bit of furniture. I'm pretty sure the receipt there from IKEA is going to be very much loved after that one, as they are exchanging quite a lot of bullets through the woodwork, and more kills coming through for both respective sides. 808 and Stoker will reply with 2. Duz, though, still going to be the last man standing in the hill, and this, although it's only going to be a little bit of scrap time, is going to be a decent chunk of it, as it's almost close to 20 seconds, which Ricochet are going to have to be forced to chalk. And Hayden and Icy there, just a little bit of an awkward engagement as they both catch each other out with their pistols out. No, that's not an innuendo, I promise, as Milkers now going to have to try and work their way in towards the hill themselves here, Pablo. So a bit of a refreshing change here for once. Ricochet Ultra, they're set up, and now they just need to try and get the kills to go with it.
I can't cast when you're making weird Billy jokes, but it is what it is. But yeah, absolute work coming out of Milkers, 146 to 94. The kills do go back and forth on this P2, and again, it is going to be Ricochet. You did have a little bit of joy over towards this hill in the first rotation, so looking to replicate that just to keep themselves within 30 or 40 seconds, which is miles better. And they're going to spread out as well. One thing they haven't been doing is looking to try and get some coverage and just try and get those picks in transition. They've already allowed 2 to slip through a Major. And interestingly, we said this, you mentioned it from the start, just how, I think the guys from Milkers understand just how their strengths lie in potentially getting a lot of time on P3. Well, number 3 in Stoker, I think, realised that as well, but he's been dealt with. Again, lost that really important transitional battle. He lost it in the previous round, previous rotation, and he's lost it again, and that's going to potentially give Milkers the opportunity to get a solid setup going into this. But number 4 is going to be Hayden, looking to take that unusual route to try and get some picks, and he gets both of those picks, Major. That is absolutely huge, but can he get control of the back of P3?
Yeah, Hayden's having a much better map now as he gets his 22nd gunfight win. Oh, can't quite get the 23rd, but I'll tell you what, his teammates have him to thank for those spawns in the back. He has managed to get his way in. Ice and the boys, though, going to look to try and return serve as Riz and Lewis are going to try and grab a couple. Lewis will manage to grab 2 before he does subsequently eventually before the contest comes through. But 808 just laying prone, waiting for some form of help as bodies are going to start throwing themselves just over the top of him. Duz is actually going to manage to slip out the back. Surely the team shots are going to be enough to drop him. They are. Lewis is going to, again, try and work a little bit of a lane to maybe try and push through fire. Will spot 1, takes 1 down. He's still got so many more bodies to cut through. But Ricochet Ultra, those last 2 hills, Pablo, have been very, very good for them. And Milkers, again, forced to rotate. But the previous hill that we've just seen finish, Ricochet Ultra managed to break their way in. So Milkers really going to have to try and hold strong on this one. Otherwise, Ricochet could be the team running away with it.
Yeah. Considered as well that they, obviously in the previous rounds they tried to rely quite heavily on a level of gun skill coming out of 808. Well, they've absolutely relied on quality strategy and a quality push going into P3. Stoker got bodied on that first 1v1 and they were able to break through despite that. But again, this P4 is proved to be a bit of a kind of like a curse for the boys from Ultra. They haven't been able to break it. They haven't been able to get any time on this hill whatsoever. So this is going to be another big kill. Potentially Milkers able to get the first 30 or so seconds on this, and this has been a puzzle and enigma that the guys in purple haven't been able to do. And Stoker and 808 gonna team up, but they can't budge them off the hill, and they've already got to start thinking about maybe chalking this and getting set up P5. And Major, if you recall in that second rotation, man, they struggled on P5 as well. Aiden dirty boy, nearly on the 30, 28 and 16.
Yeah, much better performance here from Hayden. They are still trailing, though, by around 20 points as we go over towards the P5, but it will be Ricochet on the initial time. Stoker going to grab a pick over towards the dockside once again, and Rico and Hayden going to combine for 3. Lewis is still going to be alive and kicking on the hill. He's surely going to get shot any second now. Hayden wins another gunfight, and that's his 30th now. I think pretty much he can combine all of his kills so far in pretty much the first 3 maps, and he'll probably still have more on this one. As Ricochet still currently don't have a man on the hill. Again, it's going to be Lewis. It's going to just pull the short straw and opt to hop on. But the pistol shot's a little bit wayward there. And Lewis, alongside the team shots, is going to make 808 pay for it now. So Milkers getting towards the dangerous side here. They're over the 200-point mark. They're slowly starting to tick their way closer to that 250. And now Hayden doing his utmost here just to try and keep his man alive on the hill. 808 Needs to try and stay down, though. Hayden's going to try and lend a helping hand. There's one for Hayden. Can he grab another? Lewis trades him out. But more importantly, Pablo, they do have the rotation ready for P1. But there's already going to be a couple of important gunfights here. And Lewis might be able to win a few of them, potentially.
Yeah, and Lewis just plays his life really, really well. Gets a few, he's going to give them something to think about. Finally gets dealt with, but that is going to allow a couple of players to get the pinch in, particularly number 7. Is going to push through, and that's going to be another big kill. Icy from the front, and this could be problematic for the boys in purple. They've got to get some big kills, and they're not going to get them. And with only needing 20 or 30 seconds, Milkers are going to be in the driving seat. And you can see again, I think it's Riz who's managing. Icy takes that prone position. This is going to be huge right now for Ricochet Ultra if they want to see any kind of scoreline on the board. Riz crawl along. He's so intimate with that carpet right now. This is going to be huge. It's so close. This huge battle, and 808 goes absolutely monumental in the hill. And this is going to make it so that almost it's so close to Milkers not being able to win off this hill. And already you can see a big job made to the responsibility on Stoker right now is huge.
Yeah, he wins the first one. Can he win the second? Oh, that's a really big set of wins there. They will get the man on the scrap time, though, Milkers. They did win the gunfight. Icy is going to just eke away at that total. So now they only need 7 seconds. They need one clean break here. You can see that Hayden's going to be watching over that front entrance. He knows that Riz is in fire. He's just going to be trying to be guarding down. There's one for Hayden. There's 2 for Hayden. He knows the other man is potentially around him, and they do manage to get a clean wipe here. Can he win the third?
Oh, hey!
Onto Icy, and right when they need him to come through, Big Hayden does it once again. Can he get some more shots out to weaken up a few of these players, because they need to get across to the hill here, Milkers. They haven't got many more opportunities at doing this. 808 going to just push himself in towards the hill. Riz now on towards the time they go. 808 needs to stay alive. They need to try and keep him alive. He's going to potentially win another gunfight. Lewis there manages to get a pick. The trade comes through, though. Only 5 seconds remaining here for Milkers to take this one. Icy, how many can he win? The shots, though, are combining, and they're going to take him down as well. Does is going to try and punch his way in individually, but they're doing it one at a time here, Milkers. But Does with one, Does with 2. Can he get the third? No, he can't, but Riz is going to try and mop the pieces, and he's going to put the shots into Hayden, who stays alive. But Lewis, oh my God, it's back and forth. Icy now pushes in. He grabs the pick. Someone needs to contest. They can win. He gets another one. Icy, the contest comes in, though. But look at the rotation. Pablo, the boys in red. Oh my God, through all the madness, they held their good, cool heads, and my God, they take it. But what a map, 250, 246.
Mate, I'm going to have to put the arms out and bow down to the casting at the end there, because that was absolutely wild. As the boys steam into windows from Ricochet Ultra to try and see that map off, you cannot say that they did not try and regain in that map. Hayden has pulled it out the bag, but it's just not enough in the end. He gets 38 kills. Taken over the role of 808. It's a player we said needed to go big. He goes absolutely huge, but Milkers proved that they're just not. They've got more than just a bit of class. They've got more than gun skill. They've got the big cojones when it counts, and they managed to take that 4-0 major. What are we seeing right now?
My God, and breathe. Holy. Well, we've got 4 maps done. I'll tell you what, a few of them could easily have gone Ricochet's way, though, especially that map 4, obviously the search and destroy as well. But we talk about kind of clutch factors, Pablo. It's something that kind of gets mentioned all the time. But this Milkers roster, they just seem to get the maps done. They just seem to get them over the line, no matter how messy they can make it look. Hayden obviously had a much better map there in that map 4, but it just still wasn't enough. They somehow managed to get bodies in towards the hill to contest. They still had somebody as well thinking big for the next hill, for the rotation. And then through all the madness, there's 3 of the boys pretty much ready at P3, ready to go. Yep, no, we still won this one.
I mean, just a clever play, just really calm head in that team, just able to take a global view of the map and say, you know, it is crazy in that P2, but make sure that we rotate for P3 and just maintain the contest. Of more than anything else, just make sure that Ricochet Ultra can't get the time on the hill that they so desperately need. And at the end of the day, it's that kind of calm head and what appears to be a chaotic situation that's won them a map. And in many ways, you know, we've talked about the Ricochet Ultra being blown out, but if you go back over the scoreline, I think more than anything else, it's been this war between a very gifted gun skill side and a team that have got great gun skill but really good strategy. So you look at that Bocage hardpoint, it's 250 to 226 in the end. You know, the scoreline we think maybe flattered Ricochet Ultra, who had a really shocking start. You go to the S&D, 6 5. I mean, Ricochet Ultra, I think they were 5-2 at one point.
Yep, they were.
And the boys from Milkers managed to bring it back. So this game feels like Ricochet Ultra have been, you know, bodied, but the scoreline largely outside the control, not reflecting that. So really, it's become a war of different styles, and Milkers, just with the greater strategy and the level and calm head, have come out on top. 4-0-1 away for wrapping up a best of 9 in this kind of fashion. This is not exactly where Ricochet Ultra thought they would be, but there's still plenty of time, and Major, we have got some run of maps to allow them to do it. And where we head next? Back to the desert for Desert Siege, a disgusting, horrific map to go into, and that just might be exactly what Ricochet Ultra need.
Sorry, 1 second. I was just adding molds as a mod because he was trying to do his best to sort us out for the maps. But I mean, my God, we are now loading into map 5 of still potentially 9, but now they're going to need the world's biggest reverse sweep of Ricochet Ultra. Don't count them out just yet. It just feels as though they've just taken just that little bit longer to come to the party here. The boys seem to have just not been quite as warm on the sticks as the boys from Milkers have been, but we are going to load in towards a Desert Siege search and destroy. And again, another big map, Pablo, another AR presence heavy map. It'll be interesting to see as well whether some of these lads opt to try and pull a sniper out as well, because again, Desert Siege, if you've got a very good sniper, if you've got a cheeky super hopping around somewhere, or even a beans just floating about, it's a map that can really, really start to shift if that sniper gets control, starts getting picks. But then also on the flip side, if they're struggling, it can be a very, very rough map as well sometimes, especially if they're not switching off of the sniper.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that. Was it Maple, I think, who had an absolutely shocking bail-in with the sniper and just never come back off it, and it just ruined the game for them. So yeah, it can be such a great weapon at times. I almost feel like for the first few rounds it should be law that a sniper's used, but like, it's a problematic weapon. If you get a couple of picks, it can act as a great suppression weapon. It makes players think about their routes a little bit more because they don't want to get their head taken off. And alternatively, it's great for information. You might not necessarily get a pick, but if you see 3 players cross, 2 players cross, or whatever, you can relay that information. That can then generally, that will dictate your strategy in defense or in attack, or however you want to go about it. But yeah, it can be a great weapon. But again, you know, if you're not getting the picks and you're not getting the information, throw the AR on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just put it away. Let's not see. We don't want to see any more misses and you getting bodied by an SMG halfway through the game. So this could be huge, though. Ricochet, this is an awkward map, you know, and I'm sure and know for a fact Hayden's played this. No one enjoys this map, but you know, apart from the Spanish lads, you know, it's a warm out there. There's plenty of sand, and I know they appreciate it. But you know, they've got to see the lads from Wales go big right now.
Yeah, and this is now do or die here for these boys. And I need to quickly shout out Jackal as well for the sub. Thank you very much, brother. Tier 1. 4-month 1. Thank you very much, mate, and welcome to the I don't know, is it the Chafers? I don't even know what we call each other now at this point. The passionate people. I don't know. We'll come up with something. We'll go with Chafers for now. It's not really the most complimentary name in the world, but we are now.
It's like the privates or something, because you're the major.
The privates. Oh god, yeah. It just sounds like more innuendos, really, doesn't it? When you phrase it like that. Just hold on to your privates, boys, because we're now going to get in towards our map number 5. But yeah, big thank you, Jackal, for the sub, brother. Thank you very much. And going to be now do or die here for Ricochet Ultra. They need to take this map and 4 after as well if they are going to still stand in with a chance of winning an additional £210. That's what these boys are playing for. Both teams have respectively already won 140 quid each, and now this is going to be to see who comes out on top of this one. And Rico going to get some info that this bomb is going to be going down, but the shots there from Riz are going to be good. 808 though is going to reply with 1 as he's already hot off to the races. And now 2 versus 2, 808 and Hayden up against them. Hayden gets 1. There's another pick for 808 and a clean opening round here for Ricochet and a good retake of the site.
Yeah, Hayden already, you know, kind of doing miles better than he did over towards that Tuscan S&D with a nice early kill. 808 continuing that form, though, that we've seen him in the previous games. He manages to get a 3-piece. I think he did that in that first... Was it the first round where he got that incredible reaction 3-piece?
Yep.
Might have even been round 2, but unbelievable performance. He's repeating that. But that is a worrying sign as well if you're a Ricochet Ultra fan, because this is the position they were in the previous S&D, and, you know, we started to get that waft kind of later on into the game of that round 11. So Ricochet also really need to now stamp their authority a little bit. Desert Siege is an awkward map, and they need to make use of the elevation in this map and make use of the potential headies and just play this and get the picks. First pick, though, all important, and first blood vital. Does not able to see Stoker all the way down the other end of the map. He is going to use that broken window to try and get an angle. Well, there's going to be no snipers on the map thus far, just Lewis and Hayden. Just got, again, a little bit of that head-to-head, and it's going to be Lewis who manages to give Hayden a headache and put him with the paracetamol into the next round, and it's going to be a 3v4 major just post 1 minute mark.
Yeah, Riz is over towards the B steps here. And 808 gets a pick. Now, is this going to be the time where he pushes down to the side? Is he going to check this left-hand corner? He is, and Rico's going to manage to take the down. Take one man down. As Riz drops, Icy drops as well, and now it's all on Duz. Needs a 1 versus 3 here. Ricochet Ultra. Very strong opening start to the search. Does need a 1 versus 3. And he is going to grab 1 pick. So there's the first pick for Duz. He's just going to reposition as well. He's still got to go through Rico and 808 here. He'll do a very good job of doing it. 28 seconds left on the clock. And he has been tagged up and spotted, so you do feel that 808 is going to aggressively come on the hunt, as he always does. That's exactly what he does, and 2 clean rounds on the board for the boys of Ricochet.
Yeah, we start to see the kind of we saw the strategy kind of the very start of the Desert Siege S&D when it came into the rotation, and this kind of split play to get information and potentially just try and triangulate in and squeeze that remaining player, and that pays dividends for Ricochet, and they managed to get the kill. I managed to take a 2-0 lead, mirroring almost exactly the performance we saw in that Tuscan S&D. And again, 808 though on a 6 streak right now, proving just how dominant he can be. But again, he does need the rest of the team to pull through, and with Rico and Stoker only with a 1 kill out of the 2 of them, and Hayden following with 1 as well. This kind of starting to see a worrying trend, Major, within this side, and that really does need to be put to bed. But that glide bomb going to be handy, and 808 can be stopped. 8088080 across the top of his name, Major.
That's something that we're probably not going to see. It's like Morse code, isn't it? 808 880. Oh, 808 if you include the deaths as well. So yeah, it's literally 808 Morse code for the time being, as he is just playing this like a TDM at the moment. Oh, a little bit of windy shots there. You wouldn't have thought he got 8 in a row with shots like that. Hayden is going to reply with 1 note. So now 1 versus 1 up against Riz. Hayden going to opt to go towards the top tower. That bomb has been dropped on the site. Is Riz going to spot Hayden up towards the top here? The nade has been landed. He's going to retrieve the bomb here. Maybe, is he going to get some good timing here? I think Hayden might have spotted him here. I think he did, because he's now going to try and transition over towards the B point. He might have maybe been duped out a little bit here, because Riz just wrapping, going towards the A site. But look at Hayden, he's literally legging it, surely going to try and get this kill of the man on the bomb. That's exactly what he does, and Ricochet doing exactly what they did on the Tuscan Pablo. Strong start, but now they just got to try and keep this going. Yeah,
this already feels like a different Ricochet side, and Hayden with really nice confidence just, battles onto the A site and manages to get the pick, and that's what we wanted to see really from round 1. We've not really seen the best out of Hayden so far, but he has slowly started to pick things up with that incredible performance in Berlin Hardpoint. So 3-1 right now, 8-8 as you would expect going off, and that glide is going to be in the back pocket. So 3-0, that's quite a good lead to have on a Desert Siege S&D. You've got to ask the question, Major, at the minute Ricochet have thrown away some decent opportunities. This is quite a big one though, and this is going to be quite a stretch for them to throw this one away. I think if they maintain composure, maintain the pace, more importantly, that they're playing at, this could be their first game on the board, but it's still early, and Does manages to get some windies. He gets a couple of bullets into the player, but it's not going to be enough, and it's still going to be 3v4 as Rico does fall.
And these middle map engagements are going to be important. The bomb is going to go down though, and I don't think they realise that 808's on the site here. They do now though, as they get him absolutely peppered with shots. Riz is going to be there though for the trade, though he's not. 808 will manage to just about slither away with just the tiniest amount of health. Hayden's going to have another gunfight down towards his left-hand side. Lewis so barreling towards him with the pistol. This is balls of steel. They're actually just going to try and stick the defuse. They do manage to do it. So through all the madness, Milkers, they just hop the defuse and they manage to get the round done.
Man, he was on 4 HP. I was like, is he still alive? And then the defuse comes in. And we do say this time and time again, if you are watching, just stick the defuse. It's especially in clutch situations. But that was a wild map. It is going to go the way of Milkers, who this is one of the things that we've said about them predominantly over the last few maps, is that they have kind of given responsibility and taken responsibility for the kills across the board. Well, this is the first time where we're starting to see struggle bus. Lewison does maybe 1-2 kills off being, or deaths I should say, on that struggle bus in Desert Siege. It's not where you want to be. It did feel this could be a great map. It is going to be Lewis though, who makes me eat my words almost immediately. And gets a pick, but it's going to be roundly backed up straight away. As we see, it is going to be 3v3, and that's another big kill as Hayden manages to get another 2 massive kills. He's on 5 and 1 major and on a 4 streak.
Yeah, and Riz now needs a 1 versus 3. Is he going to work a little bit of much needed magic here for Milkers, because this will be a 4-1 deficit, and it's going to be a 4-1 deficit. Ricochet Ultra looking very, very good. And structured on this map now sees them have a 3-round cushion. But remember, if you guys did miss map 2, they were 5-2 up and they dropped that 6-5. So don't count the boys of Milkers out just yet, but they are looking very, very good in this map, that's for sure. And those ARs, Pablo, just getting the picks that they need to at the moment. That's what they struggled with in the early parts of some of these maps. And the likes of Hayden this time pulling his weight as well. Obviously, 808 doing exactly what he normally does and going absolutely huge for this roster. But Hayden as well contributing quite a large amount of first bloods and kills. Very important.
Yeah, I think as well, he manages to get that kind of composed last kill as well, which was the first round. So, you know, doing everything the way he should have been doing it from the start, and he's had a much better performance. And, you know, at 4-0, the game isn't over. The series definitely isn't over. So, and we know Ricochet have definitely got it in the tank, but Duz is going to get an important kill. Again, another player who was approaching struggle bus kind of territory does get dropped, and it is going to be a 2v2. So this game does slowly but surely, Major, it's going back and forth quite a lot. And this is where they started to worry for them in the Tuscan S&D. They had this 3-round lead and then just slowly started to throw it away with very exposed plays just like that. And Milkers put another round on the board, and Major, they are doing it again. They are slowly but surely unraveling Ricochet on this Desert Siege map. They're playing slightly differently. They're playing slightly more cautiously, and they've brought it back to within 2.
So, 4-2 lead now for Ricochet. This round, you do feel could be important, but as mentioned, Ricochet Ultra found themselves 5-2 up before. So this round not necessarily as important as you might think, as Milkers are now going to be back on the attacking side. We'll see who's going to draw the short straw, and it will be Riz who is going to be the man in charge of bomb. It looks as though they might just barrel straight in towards this bottom uni building. Icy's going to be here. The man who's been so good all season long, and oh my god, it's got very messy, but it's got very, very purple. As there's going to be 2 kills that Rico manages to mop up in towards that bottom university building, and Lewis is going to fall as well. Ricochet Ultra is a very, very quick round. It now sees the last man does up. He gets absolutely fried, and Ricochet Ultra take another round, put it on the board, and now 5-2 up again, Pablo. Deja vu, question mark?
Hey, Rico with the ace. I'm telling you, he just got an ace in that round. Unbelievable plays there from the man. And that is exactly what they need. A little stroke of luck, Major. Just a little bit of luck. But we are at that point. I think we were in the previous S&D 5-2, and Ricochet just threw it all away. So really needs to go big now. They need to have some composure about them, and more importantly, Major, they have to get that first blood. But the confidence now has got to be riding high. They are definitely warmed up. They are definitely on point in terms of shots, and Rico on a 4 streak after quite a monumental performance in that previous round.
First blood again. Ricochet going to grab it. Stoker's not hesitating. He's just going to get the bomb down almost instantly. Is Lewis going to try and push out towards the site? We're going to see the glide bomb from 808 looking to try and get a pick. Nothing will come of it. Stoker will manage to get out. Lewis, though, is just sticking the defuse here. He's just going to try to... This is balls of steel. Oh, it's not going to pay off, though. He will get taken down. 808 with, again, another big couple of kills. Stoker grabs one, and finally, Ricochet Ultra. They get the first map on the board. It is a very emphatic one in a 6-2 fashion from what we've seen so far, but this is exactly what they needed to do.
I swear down, if you put like 3 hours a week time into Desert Siege, Search and Destroy, that is 3 hours more than anyone else is putting into this game, so into this map. And it was always going to be a good opportunity for a team that have got, like, you know, kind of historically decent ARs. So this was definitely felt like this was an opportunity for Ricochet Ultra to potentially turn things around. But the big problem they've got now is they go into a double header of relatively medium small maps. So they go into a Tuscan Control, and then even if Ricochet managed to bring that one out, they then head into a Bocage S&D followed by a Tuscan Hardpoint. So you've got a feeling that, you know, unless they can really start to turn things around in terms of their strategies on small maps, this is still going to be be a massive uphill struggle for them. But Tuscan Control, it's a weird one, and they got the start they needed on Control. They didn't get the result they needed, but they started on that defensive side. You know, they need to now take you know, the potential problem for them is they might not start on defense. If they do start on defense, though, they've got to come out the blocks now. They can't afford to have an attacking a defensive round like they had in that Gavutu. This is super important for them now.
Yeah, I say when that Gavutu got going, that first round just looked such a jackhammer, really, to the head of Ricochet, that it just knocked them for 6 in that one. But tell you what, the first map of a potential reverse sweep that they're needing, not necessarily a bad one, to be fair. 6-2, it's not quite a 6-0, but nice. they did look a lot more comfortable in that one. Obviously, whenever Milkers tried to throw kind of raw aggression at them, we've seen it many times, as Lissandro wants a major but yeah, whenever they tried to throw raw aggression at them in the maps prior to that one, they pretty much got a full whack at it, and Ricochet didn't really have much to answer for it. Whereas in that one, it felt as though, like we saw Rico when he got the ace, as soon as they just pushed through, the boys of Ricochet were a little bit more savvy to it on that occasion. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think the main thing to take out of those last 2 games, now we know they didn't win the Berlin hardpoint, but we talked about just how down bad Hayden was in the previous 3 games. He's just come to life. You just look at his performance, 808 managed to carry through his performances. Largely, he hasn't changed. He's played really well. But Hayden, in that Berlin, dropping 38, and then going into this S&D, I think he ended up on a 6-1 or a 7-1. So just doing really well. And if he can carry on that momentum with 808, if the other 2 guys can provide just a bit of foundational play, this could be a completely different series as we head into this map 6. So this is huge anyway for them, and it's going to be, you know, vital that they win this Tuscan Control. Obviously every map now counts because they are on the precipice of losing this grand final. But Tuscan Control, this is a great opportunity, especially if Hayden is playing well, especially if 808 is playing well. and we talked about how they need to get into the heads of Milkers. They need to jar them, they need to make sure they own, especially in defense. Now, one of the problems we did see in that Gavutu Control was just how dominant Milkers were. They managed to get 90% of the ticks at A, while getting 100% of the ticks at B, with one player, Lewis, going absolutely off over towards that B zone. So they're just got to make sure, Ricochet Ultra, that does not happen again.
Yeah, I think the main thing, the difference that a Gavutu Control serves in comparison to Tuscan is that even if you're getting killed and you're not able to get over towards the B point, on Tuscan it's a lot easier to nade the man out of the point. On Gavutu, you pretty much have to have someone either in the hill or pinpoint perfect nades to get them out of it, because it is so difficult, especially when you've got kind of that P1 control. Whereas on Tuscan, you can just come off spawn, throw a good nade, and you'll probably at least damage the man on the hill to take him off of it. So there's going to be a lot more opportunity for the boys of Ricochet to try and shift these guys off of the point as and when they kind of get their teeth into it, which I think will benefit them a little bit more. But yeah, as you mentioned, they need to come out the gates here flying, Pablo. Obviously, we're coming to expect now that 808 is the man that is puts probably a few sneak energies in ahead of these boys, because he is putting up some really big numbers on the cards for them. And they're slowly, as a core 4, starting to contribute more themselves. Obviously, Rico had a really good ace there in the search and destroy. Hayden as well has had a good couple of maps now and slowly starting to wake up a little bit. So you don't want to write them off yet, but again, every single map against this Milkers roster, from what we see, is probably going to be one where all of them need to come absolutely flying out of this one. And again, on a respawn, where Milkers have looked very good all series long, they're again going to have to look to the likes of Hayden, Stoker, and Rico to really put up some big numbers themselves as well, alongside 808.
Yeah, with conversation we had before the game started, we did say this largely, these kind of large series, these kind of best of 7s, best of 9s, come down to concentration and that ability to be able to stay focused. Now, the previous game, that Desert Siege, is the first time that we've seen Milkers really have 2 players that have struggled right the way throughout, and in Riz, I think it might have been, and Lewis and Icy managing to get kind of thereabouts positive KDs. This could be exactly the thing that Ricochet Ultra need, that little bit of lack of concentration. It's been a long evening of Call of Duty for them, and they could do it potentially going big. And right now they've got massive A control with 1 minute 22 on the clock. If they get the A point, that is almost the maximum amount of time that you can get to get that B point. And 808 has gone absolutely ham over towards the back of B, and Ricochet Ultra made it look like a completely different proposition right now.
Oh my god, Hayden as well. He's a man evolved. He's got 6 in a row now, 1 away from a glide bomb, and this has been a brutal opening round. Oh, he's going to get shot in the back though at the worst of times. 808 just going to lay prone, but he too is so close to streaks. Nope, never mind. Still needed 3, but ever so close, and it's going to drop. It will be off Hayden at the moment. My God. Did he give his brother the controller for the first few maps? Because at the moment, it's now more like the Hayden that we're used to seeing. There's another pick onto Icy as he chews through a few more players. And I'll tell you what, if your Milkers on this defensive side, Pablo, this has been brutal. Icy, who's been so good in the series so far, 1-7.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a complete turnaround. I mean, this is not the same Milkers that we saw on Gavutu. This is a mirror image of the performance with Ultra going absolutely off. Lewis trying to cause as many problems as he can, but Hayden has been unstoppable. 9-2 are messing with me. And as I say that, he nearly produces one of the worst shots you've ever seen, but manages to get the kill. And that is huge right now. Ricochet Ultra not only in control of the game, they've got themselves a 10 life lead with 1 minute 29 on the clock. They don't really need to think about the zone at all. They could potentially just get 2 solid pushes, get 2 team wipes, and it's game 1 in the team of purple on that more difficult attacking round. So big props to the boys in purple. We asked them for a regame major and they have delivered.
Rico takes 1 man down off the point. You can still see that Duz is going to have a few more though, and likewise Lewis just watching over towards his platform side. 808 off the top rope. Lewis able to struggle just about to get that pick. Hayden though laying prone with the pinch now potentially coming through as 1 kill will come through in favour of Duz. He's going to get tagged up from both sides. Nice work to take down 1. Looking for the second on the Rico. And nice work from Duz. Wins the second one. I thought he was pretty much dead to rights for the first one, but he wins both of them somehow. But it is now going to be a problem with lives as they now have no more respawns. Lewis is going to drop. He won't come back into the round. Riz has got some mid-map control. They need to try and hold off this first wave of players, though. Icy's going to get tagged up with the nades. Body's flying over to him. Hayden with his 11th kill so far of this round. And Duz has absolutely none of it. He says, see you later, boys. That's enough of that one. And it's going to be Ricochet Ultra. First round on the board, and a good one at that.
Now, that was absolutely stomping from the start. Ricochet going absolutely off. It's a different side. I feel like they've handed their pads to someone else because they dominated that A point. They got the maximum amount of time that you can get to get over to B, and they turned it into TDM, and it was, you know, it was beautiful to see. Are you still going to consider that Rico and Stoker aren't playing particularly great? It's on the back of 808 and Hayden. So if those 2 boys, we know that Rico can put up numbers. We know Stoker can play. If they can get a little bit more involved, this could be, you know, the very beginnings. It could be of one of the most surprising upsets, especially at 4-0. Right now, it's still a long way to go, but they are doing all the right things and making all the right noises about bringing this back around.
Yeah, Milkers are going straight for this A point. Hayden is going to be here to try and maybe grab a couple. Nope, absolutely nothing comes of that, as I see. Slowly starting to come into a bit of an element of his own now. 3 kills in a row. He was 1-7. He's now 6-8, so you can see the regain that he's had. Oof, but Stoker puts him straight back down where he found him as he puts a couple of bits of lead straight through his forehead. But that A point has now been secured, but it's not going to be an A point that allows them a huge amount of time, Pablo. Although it does say 2 minutes 15. We're so used to teams doing this on Tuscan where they get the point done quickly. You see 2 minutes, and then all of a sudden it's like 15 lives each, and they've got 20 seconds left. So the boys of Milkers are going to have to try and play this quickly to at least grab lives and kills, if not the point.
Yeah. And this is going to come down to really, you know, you're quite right. Milkers need to maintain the pace, because I feel if Ricochet Ultra can get themselves set up and start to kind of drain this back to their preferred pace, they could just get a nice, easy defensive round. And this is exactly the position they really want to be in. They know A is potentially going to go. It's kind of accepted in that sense against teams who are relatively equal. And this comes down to this wall of attrition over towards B. That's a big kill for Lewis, though, towards the back. He's going to try and get himself a little bit of back control, but that's going to be absolutely bodied there. Rico, you know, making me words finally. 6 and 9, still a long way to go for him to get positive. It is going to be Rico draining that hill back to 0. And again, this is exactly where Ricochet Ultra want to be. They want to be a wall of attrition over towards this hill with the boys from Milkers having to do all the work.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure what happened with Rico's character there. As soon as he got the shots in, his analog stick went and went all over the place.
I can hear a bell. It's insane. Someone got like a DLC weapon or something, because every time someone gets a kill, I hear this like boo. It's so weird.
I don't know, mate. Maybe it's your thing, but I'm not quite sure. Either way, they're now going to get on that B point. Lewis is going to look for another pick out towards the back. But that heady is so difficult to shift players off of. Stoker's now finding himself on a 5 streak. Can he grab any more to go with it, though? Still 2 more from the glide bomb. Currently no streaks for either side at the moment. No, 16 lives, plays 11. They've probably got 2 last goes at this. Maybe 1.5 if you argue that the kills stagger some of these players off spawn. There's 6 for Stoker. Can he get the 7? No, he can't. Riz gets the pick just when he was one shy of getting that glide bomb. That could be a really important pick, you know, because in the grander scheme of things, if they get streaks to go with this round as well, it's looking very, very bleak for the boys in red. And I think somebody has now disconnected. So 3 versus 4 is not going to be easy, especially the way this one's been going anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the noise, sorry, it's completely freaked me out, is when they get onto the zone, it makes like a little sound.
The boom.
Yeah, it's like a boo. I literally, I've never heard that before, and I've played Control like a million times. But yeah, that disconnect is not going to help. I mean, I don't think it was going to make much difference anyway. It's not like we need to restart the map. I think Ricochet Ultra had this in the bag, had it under control, and I honestly think that was going to be a 2-0 anyway. But yeah, a big play. They dominated that again. They got into that position really nicely, though. That is the position you want to be in. You know, if you're playing against a team who are very good, you let them have A and make B a war of attrition. Make it that battleground and just make sure you get your picks. And right now, where you got 808 and Hayden both playing absolutely wild, it's exactly what you need. But yeah, we are going to just have to reset the lobby. But yeah, it's been super exciting, and it's really great to see the regain coming out of the team in purple. It's finally good to see them start to shoot straight, start to play a little bit more strategically. Major, that has got to be the coldest start to his best of any series we've ever seen from a team, going 4-0 down. I know some of the games were relatively close, but that is a cold start. They have definitely warmed up now, and Major, if we see a turnaround, man, this is going to be the wildest turnaround from a 4-0 down.
Yeah, it's going to be a brutal one. And if any of you guys who have missed the maps so far, that is how they've looked. Obviously, best of 9, meaning that my graphics are going to have to stop at this point, and you're just going to have to take mine and Pablo's word for it. But currently sat at 4-1 up our Milkers, courtesy of some very, very good maps in the first 4, and then a very, very good one from Team Ricochet in that 5th one. But we are just waiting on the guys to get lobbied up and started again. If you guys are just hopping on board with us, we did have a player disconnect, so we are going to continue from 2-0 to Ricochet in this control. And yeah, it's I don't know, Pablo. I mean, things are possible in Vanguard. We've seen it before.
We've seen
but it's just, I don't know. I don't want to count Ricochet out. I've seen them play before, and I've seen Ricochet just as an org. They just seem to have that je ne sais quoi. I think for getting series done, even when it's not looking great. And I think one of the lads has had a power cut, so that was some beautiful time in there for him. As that's very unfortunate. Sub Pablo in. I'm pretty sure he'll pick up the sticks. But
let's not do that.
Quickly,
Let's not do that.
Dino wanted a major C, and Mr. Fierce Taylor wanted one as well. Oh, and so did Kelsey. So everyone's get your C's in, guys, while you can, because we're all going to be waiting a little bit going into this one. But yeah, Hayden's definitely been a lot more confident in the past 2 maps, Pablo. The first 4, it looked as though it could have been anyone playing really at that stage, but he's looking a lot better in this most recent set of maps, and his team is definitely showing good signs as a result of it. Obviously, 808 was very good in the first 4 maps. Just no other bugger was really. It was just a case of 808 versus the world. But now he's at least starting to get a bit more consistency and a bit more showing from his other teammates. They're definitely putting up a much better fight, especially in the respawns, because now they're 2-0 up, and I think do they go back on the attacking side now? I think they just won the defensive one, didn't they?
Yeah,
if memory serves me well.
Defense, yeah.
So
yeah,
they've got another opportunity. I mean, if they make this 3-0, confidence goes from here all the way up to here. So never know.
Interesting conversations I've had about Hayden in the past, and obviously, you know, the guys from Team Ricochet know him really well. Kieran knows him in real life, so you get some interesting conversations about his capabilities. And long he's been talked about a player that, if he did put the time in, could be a very, very good player, like a top level player, especially in terms of at our level over towards that kind of challenges ceiling. He just doesn't put the time in. He really enjoys the game, but I don't think it's something that he wants to spend, you know,
hours and hours and hours, yeah.
But he's long been regarded as a player that when he does put the time in, he's exceptional and could quite easily be, you know, we all know, we know so many players with that kind of capability that just cannot put the 10 hours a day required to be at that level. And it you know, obviously he's starting to show that prowess, right now in the last few maps. Ever since that Berlin where he dropped the 38, we're starting to see more and more his control of the game, his control of the map. But what people aren't seeing is that he will be barking out commands. He will be giving constant high-tier communication as well. So the rest of his team will slowly but surely start to benefit from a warmer Hayden. 808's just been unstoppable throughout the whole game, but he just hasn't had that support from the other 3 players. Now we break down Rico. We think he's a player that potentially, when he on his day, can play really well. But if he's just not got the confidence and he's not shooting straight, he's proven that it can be quite inconsistent. And we've seen that. I think that ace in the S&D really did change his game for him. He's still not quite there in this control, and they're still relying quite heavily on the 2 other players. But I think if he starts to shoot well, this is a big test now for Milkers. I mean, where do they go if they start to lose maps and maps and maps, and we end up in this 4-3, 4-4 situation? You know, that's a huge loss right there. That is a massive, like, that's a blow in confidence. And right now we're starting to see that little bit of concentration starting to lapse, the little bit of composure that we saw in the Berlin when they called that change from P2 to P3 to win the game. That kind of play has just gone out the window, and we're just starting to see Ricochet on the ascendancy, and this could be a very interesting handful of maps.
Yeah, and I think as well the interesting part to look at in terms of maps is we've still got 2 search and destroys to go in this one. Obviously map 2 was very, very close, 6-5 to Milkers in the end, but Ricochet still looked very good on search. Obviously that Desert Siege search and destroy was very one-sided. So if Ricochet are looking at it, they're thinking, right, okay, respawns are at the moment probably our weakest point. If we take the control, they've still got to take the hard point as well, because they're in a position now where they have to win the rest of the maps. They can't drop any more. But you're looking at Tuscan control, which at the moment is looking as though they should probably get that one over the line. And then you've got a Bocage search, a Tuscan hard point, and then a Berlin search. So you've got 2 searches out of the last 4 maps. One of the maps is looking like you're probably going to get it done. You just need to kind of keep your search and destroy gameplay on point, and then take the Tuscan hardpoint, which easier said than done.
Tuscan hardpoint though, isn't it? That is like, that's it's the perfect median of this game. It's the one middle ground map. Hardpoint on Tuscan is Vanguard, realistically speaking. We know that there's preferences for the likes of Berlin hardpoint because it's much more of a Cold War map, but I guarantee halfway through next year when we're playing Modern Warfare 2 and everyone's starting to talk about doing some retro tournaments, Tuscan hardpoint's going to be one of the maps that people are going to be choosing, because it is that middle ground. It's the first map everyone kind of got under the belt and were able to play quite well. So it's a good opportunity for Ricochet as well. I think the big problem for them is going to come in their very final map. If they can get it to 4-all, Berlin S&D could be a very, very strange map for them. They had a lot of joy in Desert Siege, but that's got, you know, way more elevation, way more awkward places to be in, and Berlin S&D could be, again, it could be super interesting. What a map to end on if we do get that far, though.
Yeah, so that's a really weird bit of spam I just got in my chat, but the hands are quick. Get out, insta-ban from one of the random bots. Don't know what they were saying. But yeah, guys, so apparently what the boys are doing is they're going to get a sub in. I think they are currently in the process of getting Panda in, and he's obviously going to have to face it and do a Monicam stream as well. So we're just waiting on him to get lobbied up, and then we should be good to go. So what I will actually do, guys, while we wait, because obviously we're not quite sure how long it's going to take him to set up his monitor cam and stuff, we will just throw it to a very, very quick break, and then when we're back we will have our Tuscan control ready to go. But obviously me and Pablo can talk to the cows come home, but you guys just want to see the COD. So what we'll do, we'll throw it to a quick break, guys, and when we're back we will have that map number 6 here between Milkers and Ricochet. Remember, Ricochet are 2-0 up in this control when we jump back into it, so all they need to do is win 1 round. Milkers still going to have to grab 3 off of these boys, so it's not going to be an easy feat. But yeah, we'll cut it to a quick break, guys, and when we're back we will have our Tuscan control ready to go for you. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll see you in just a second. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Thank you very much for your patience. Apologies for the delays. We are finally back into our grand final here in Division 2 of the ACCL. And for any of you guys who aren't aware, this map on Tuscan in map number, let me do my maths, map number 6. Yeah, map number 6 here is currently 2-0 to Ricochet. They had an issue with one of the lads. I believe it was Duz, if memory serves me well. So Panda has politely filled in. And Ricochet, as mentioned, 2-0 up in this one. And a strong start from them. Pablo A's already looking pretty good for them, to be honest, at this rate.
Yeah, absolutely. Hayes is absolutely dropping bombs again. And he's the kill leader presently, and it's going to be Milkers who are on the struggle bus from the outset. And again, this has been a massive turnaround in this series. 4-0. The boys from Milkers took the lead, and slowly but surely, Team Ricochet have just started to heat up and managed to get themselves a few rounds on the board, and they managed to get that Desert Siege S&D done, which is a massive turnaround. How bad they were so down bad in the previous 4 games, but this is huge for them. They only need this round, and they're going to bring this back to 4-2. And Major, more importantly, we head into a couple of maps which will definitely play into their hands. A couple of more generic at Tuscan Hardpoint, and potentially, I think the other one was a Bocage S and D. So they need this Tuscan control potentially to get to those what you would consider kind of more generic maps and modes.
Yeah, so Milkers at the moment. They need 3 of these last remaining rounds, and this is a really good opportunity, actually, for Ricochet Ultra just to try and stack the point here. Panda's out the back. The man who is filling in, he's going to get shot in the back, though, and now double stacks in. Number 6, Icy from up top. Can he grab a few of them? There's 1, there's 2. Choose through the blue. The blue? They're not blue, they're purple. There's colourblind potential? I don't know. Anyway, he manages to get through at least 2 of them, and Lewis mops up the remaining pieces. I think he actually naded a teammate through all that man. See if Riz might get taken down in mid-map. Yep, he does. Icy, though, no stranger to aggression, pushing out his lane, and a nice couple of kills there to take down both Stoker and Hayden. 14 lives, plays 13 Milkers. First tick has been put on the board here from Ricochet. They do have to be careful, but at the moment they are slowly starting to steady the ship as they now combine for 8 before Icy finally drops.
Yeah, and really nice play from Milkers. They managed to fill the entire kill feed at one point, which is a bit of a resurgence for them over the last few games. But it is going to be the team in purple who are just slowly but surely getting back into control. They've got themselves a 1 life lead. And you can see, we talked about the importance of both players in Stoker and Rico coming to the table and bringing something, because we know 808 and Hayden have started to carry in the last few games. Well, they've certainly done that 4-4 right now for Rico and Stoker with an early positive KD, and it's that kind of performance, especially if they're able to stop Icy from bringing this back to a 7-6 right now. He's doing everything he can for Milkers to try and stop this potentially one massive important round in this game. He does just that. It's going to be 5 versus 6, Major, and the advantage is with Milkers right now. Really
big kills coming through from Icy. You can see 4 in a row now for him. Lewis is going to get another pick as well. So now it's 3 lives, plays 6. A round that was looking very optimistic here for Ricochet. They just need 1 clean push. Can Hayden open it up? No, he can't. Icy holds strong once again. You can see there's going to be a few players just getting aggressive and pushing out, 808 being one of them. He's going to drop, and a round finally on the board for Milkers. We'll now see them. Although 1-0 up on your screen, it is still going to be 2-1 to Ricochet. But it looks as though Ricochet might get that done in a 3-0. They don't, though. And courtesy of Icy there, Pablo, with some really, really big kills.
Yeah, going huge at the end there. If he doesn't get that 3-piece over towards the actual hill itself, and it's a totally different ending to that game. That put them from being in a slight deficit in lives to being just over the line. I think they ended up being 5-6 before they managed to get reset up for that final push. So big moment for Milkers, and that's going to put the game at 2-1 for you guys who may be just joining. There was a slight delay as there was electricity cut out for one of the players, and he's been replaced by Panda. So 1-0 right now. Panda is struggling massively, not that surprising really, as he's been subbed into what is kind of a very heated series, a best of 9 no less. And at the 4-1 point, this is quite a big game to come into. He's 1-8 right now with 1 player. This could be huge for Milkers, though, in terms of a problem, especially if they do lose this game going into the next 2 maps where you would suggest that they might be really good. This could be a problem for them with Panda. Oh,
man, I'll tell you what, this is looking a bit bleak here. Look at the combined streak of 18 between Riz, Icy, and Lewis. Panda's just hopping on for the ride at the moment. It's just going to be an opportunity now for these boys to get the stack through. They will take 1 man down. They take down the second as well. Lewis needs to be careful here because this is for streaks. So fully streaked out now is Lewis. Glide bomb ready to be used. And I believe that's 2 now that they can opt to use here, Milkers. Whether they decide to use it on this attacking round, because this is looking like a really, really good opportunity for these lads to maybe get a little bit of momentum going in this one. They've got to be careful though. 808, aggressive as always, working a lane. Struggling so far, but he's going to pinch a few of these players. There's one for 808, looking for the second. He can't get it though. Icy, quick reactions just to snap onto him. They've still got that 6 life lead, but now they just need to try and compose themselves, and Riz out the back might be able to be a bit of a spoiler here.
Absolutely, 17 life to 23. Huge regain there from Milkers across the board from those 3 players. Lewis, Icy and Riz teaming up to drop almost 60 kills between them, just slightly shy of that figure. And we've Ricochet, Ultra. In comparison, no one on 10. We've got Hayden and 808 very close, but a completely different performance from the one we saw prior to the restart. And this is going to be huge right there. That is going to be Rico with a kill, but he gets dropped by Icy. And the support is not quite in there. Hayden's going to have to go big. Plays his life, gets the second kill. That is huge right there. Brings it back to 13v17, but more importantly, allows the team and Ricochet Ultra to kind of regain and get set back up for that extra push. Panda looking for a different route, looking to mix things up. He is going to get shots into the back. Very tentative play from the boy called Panda. Rico is going to get that top church though. And Milkers again still in the driving seat, Major, but it is only a 2 life differential as Rico looks to play his life top church. Yeah,
and 40 seconds now remain here for Milkers to try and work something on the attack. Otherwise, we are going to go to that round 5, and there's not the round 5. Apologies, my maths is bogey.
Game 6.
Game 6, that's the one. I'm glad you're here paying attention, Pabs, because otherwise I would have struggled a little bit there. But Stoker, important pick. 8 now plays 13. Ricochet. They do have a stack on the point here. I'll tell you what, they're going to have to go quickly, otherwise they're just going to grant them it in progression. Milkers, they grab a pick as well. The progression's coming through. The contest isn't there. The 4-man wipe comes through, and Milkers, they do now push that round 5 because it is now tied to 2 rounds apiece. And a round that Ricochet were looking fairly comfortable on. All of a sudden, 4-man wipe. They stack the point, and they get it done.
Man, we talked about this at the prior to the game starting. We've talked about it during the game. At this point, when you're in these best of 9s, concentration and that ability to maintain focus is so vital. And right now, Ricochet Ultra looking a lot more like the team at the start of the series than the team that came flying out of Desert Siege. And right now, they need to regain strong because they are on the precipice right now, Major, of going out and losing this grand final. And obviously, the extra £240 to come with that. Right now, Milkers on the precipice of a 5-1 victory. It's going to be Icy. That player who's been unreal all game. 22 and 10, Major, double positive. He's been the king of the 2-piece, but 808 looks like he's woken up. He manages to get a 3-piece. He's on a 3 streak right now, and that's exactly what the boys from Purple really needed. They need their players in 808 and Hayden to wake up and wake up quickly.
Yep. Can they manage to take the attacking round here? They did take it in that opening round that we saw prior to the power cut, so can they do it again here? Momentum just a little bit stinted for the time being. There will be a pick that comes through for Riz, so he's going to be over towards that P5 side, but you can see the flood of players out the back. Icy's going to be all alone here. Will manage to snap onto Rico. Can't get the kill though. Pistol out. Will he get 808 done? No, he won't, but his teammates in Panda and Lewis will mop up the pieces. Stoker has managed to just slip through to get onto the point. No progression coming through just yet. Doesn't want to give his position just yet. Hayden, at the end of his gun, gets poked out, and now Riz on a 5. Got to be careful not to grant him streaks. Oh, he's going to dip out. But he will take down one man for the 6. Needs to try and play his life here. This is really important here for Milkers, because if he gets it as well, that's going to be 3 glide bombs for Milkers to lean on here. So even if it's looking bleak on the defensive side, they're going to have so much to call upon if they require to. And now Riz going to work a bit of a wrap, potentially up through radio. Can he get some good timing? There will be one man on the point, but there's 7 now for Riz, and that is 3 glide bombs for Milkers to work on here. They do have players on the point. They're going to look to just try and take them down with guns, and that's exactly what they do. Riz now on an 8. Him, Icy, and Lewis combining for 11. Apologies, my brain's in the mud, as it will now be Riz on an 8 streak, and a lot of control in this defensive side, Pablo, but you can't look past those 3 glide bombs now for those boys.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the map that they should not lose. And it's really down to Ricochet now to try and bait those glides out. They're going to need to get picks. At the minute, it's not even look like the boys in red are going to need them. They've got a 3-life lead. They're very comfortably set up for pushes through that kind of top tile, through radio, and they do get taken down. Oh, that's a massive kill there for Rico. But again, regardless of what this team does, they can get a 4-man stack and they can get themselves onto kill. But this is the problem, Major. Lewis, the first one out, he's going to get 1 pick over towards that. This is going to be absolutely problematic. Did that a nade that killed the play before he was able to get it? Insane. But Major, that kill feed is absolutely purple. So this is a huge moment right now with 2 more glides though. This is going to be a test of of strength for Ricochet.
Yeah, they're throwing him out now. They want to get this man out the back. They don't get the kill, though, and Stoker's going to manage to slip away here. So they do have control of the point. They have 3 lives in their advantage, but look at Stoker out the back. Although I did see an absolutely rogue spawn before.
Time, did he not see
it
that
this
player?
time? And now number 3 and Hayden gets on the point. Stoker's going up towards the plat side, but meanwhile Lewis is just cutting down lives. It's not looking great for them, and Hayden's going to get sniffed out as well. But now Stoker on the point. They're surely going to try and flood him out here. He is going to transition over towards the plat side, but he's going to have to be the man to make the play here to try and disrupt this defensive control that they're going to try and throw the net over. How many can he grab? Can he get the pick onto Panda? He slips right onto the heads of him. It's a big moment now, but can Riz mop up the pieces? He's not going to be able to get the kill.
No,
808 stays alive. The trades need to be here, though. 4 lives remain for Ricochet. Otherwise, this final is done and dusted. Lewis, he's going to get taken down. Stoker with 1, but there's another glide bomb raining down. The third one of the lot's going to land right on Panda, who, to be fair, hasn't done a huge amount in this map, but it might be really detrimental to them. But it's now going to be down on 1 man and 1 man only. 808, can he work some magic? No, he can't. And Milkers, they were 2-0 down in the control, but they managed to take it 3-2. We won't even see the scoreboard at the end of it because that is grand final done. Those boys, they are your champions of Division 2, Pablo.
Well, absolutely deserving as well. I mean, you look at the scoreline and we, go through the story of that series. They really did deserve that for those first 4 games. The domination at times was absolutely apparent, and the scoreline's not really reflecting that. They're 6-5. They won. They were 5-2 down in that first S&D. The Bocage hardpoint, they absolutely dominated that first hardpoint, and it was really only down to some spurious play from Ricochet where they got some time but weren't able to get the kills that makes that game look a lot closer. We go into the control, and that's where that domination started to become apparent. That first control round, one of the most dominant I think we've ever seen, and then you head into that Desert Siege, and this was the first time that Ricochet really started to warm. Actually, I think it was a Berlin hardpoint. They really started to play. Hayden picked out 38, but it wasn't enough, and that was 4-0 for the boys from Milkers. Ricochet, a small and often really, really interesting comeback. They managed to get themselves a Desert Siege win, emphatic at that, 6-2. And then they managed to get into this Tuscan control, but a break in the middle seems to have dropped their concentration, seems to have dropped their momentum, and Milkers with an emphatic 5-1 victory in this best of 9, deserved from the beginning, and great play. And you've got to give this absolute shouts out to Icy, Lewis and Riz, and for me, I just feel like, Icy has been MVP. He's been putting up 2 pieces and 3 pieces round winning moments, particularly towards the end of that first round, and the 3rd round of control on Tuscan. Absolutely huge. Yeah,
and so congratulations there to Milkers. They will be crowned your Division 2 Grand Champion. Grand Final? Grand Champions? I don't know. They won 2 Grand Finals to get it, and they managed to get it done in a very one-sided affair in 5-1. So congratulations to those boys. But that is going to be it from myself and Pablo this evening, guys. Apologies for the delays in the control. Hopefully it was worth a while because we had some really good maps, regardless of how one-sided it looks on paper. There were some really, really close ones. But what we're going to do is we're going to throw a raid over to the Kings of Scotland in Scalp Esports. They're currently streaming at the moment, so if you guys can hop on the raid, show Beanroll and those boys. I played him in League Play actually yesterday, and we were in a 4-man caster stack and came away with the dub, but I'll return the favour by showing him some love. But yeah, thank you very much to everyone who has tuned in. Obviously a huge shout out to my co-caster who's back from downing sangria for days. It's good to have him back on the mic, so thank you again, Paz, for joining me. But hopefully we'll be back sooner rather than later for some more Call of Duty action. But yeah, that is going to be it from myself and Paz this evening, guys. Thank you very much to everyone who's new and old tuning in and dropping follows and subs as well to those guys as well. So thank you very much, guys, and we will see you hopefully sooner rather than later for some more Call of Duty action.